So first thing I want to ask is why y'all wearing so much clothes?
'Cause it's November.
We're dressed accordingly.
We didn't know we were coming to a sauna, the she shed. Holy crap.
Well, I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning so I can make this place nice and cozy. The first thing I did when I woke up this morning was I opened up the weather app. I was like, oh, 50 degrees. This is like the perfect time for me to start my stove because like this is my favorite thing about this studio, this recording studio. The favorite thing I love about our she shed is that we have this little stove here that we could just put in some logs and then it's nice and toasty in here, you know?
No. And then, yeah, look at what you're wearing and what the rest of us are wearing.
Well, actually,
Of course you do.
You know what? It's a little warm for me, so that means you guys got to be like hot.
We're dying. We're physically dying. Gonna catch a heat stroke.
This is what they say that menopause feels like. So.
Yes.
Hot flashes.
Oh my God. And you know it too, because you were wearing a hoodie before.
Yeah, it was
so
cold
you were
outside.
dying.
It was cold
You were
outside.
dying because you took it off.
So that's why I changed into something more appropriate for the climate that's in this room.
No consideration for the rest of us. Saying, hey guys, it's 100 degrees in the shed. Come in shorts and t-shirt.
It feels like the Amazon jungle in here.
Speaking of the Amazon, that's a good leeway into your Amazon story.
Amazon story. They were dying
All right, go
yesterday.
ahead. Since you wanna spill,
Me?
you wanna throw me under the bus. Go ahead.
So
have
me?
at it. Yeah,
I
sure.
started.
Sure.
So yesterday I purchased a shoe and my shoes came right.
By the way,
Was it yesterday?
they were red bottom shoes.
Well, anyway, I purchased my
Hey, Cash is
shoes
doing well.
and they came and he's like red bottoms, and then he goes upstairs and he brings down a pair of shoes that he bought. And
Not
they're-
red bottom.
And my shoes are like, patent leather, shiny patent leather. And Ben brings his shoes down. He's like, "Oh, look, mine's shiny." And it's shiny and it's like velvety in the middle part of it. It's like a loafer style, right? So I was like, "Are they real leather, right? As long as they're real leather, I don't care where you bought it from." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm sure it's real leather." I'm like, "Where'd you buy it?" Amazon. He's like, go look at pricing, right? I was like, "How much did you buy it for?" He had no idea how much he bought it for. He's like, go to Amazon. Let's check pricing. And Aiden was all listening to this conversation. And he was he's a very interested boy. So whatever we're talking about, he's always, curious. So I go on Amazon and I check the history and I check the pricing. It's like, spent like $30 on that. I'm like, as soon as we saw the pricing, we both started cracking up, crying. And Aiden's like, "What's going on, guys? Why? Why are you laughing? Why?" I'm like, "This is definitely not leather."
It's vegan leather, guys.
Actually, it was.
That's a nice way of saying vital.
Yeah. It was actually $49 and it was on sale for like $35. So I don't know how much he got it for. But
Those are going to fall apart after the first day you wear them.
I was like, you better wear shit. It doesn't fall apart.
Can you
as
imagine?
walk.
We're going to these bougie events, my shoes falling apart.
You better wear the shit.
My big toes coming out of the front.
Are these for the gala?
Huh?
Were these for the gala?
Whatever formal event I have coming up.
He just bought it. I'm like, you should stop buying stuff on Amazon.
We tell you to defer to your wife. Let her dress you.
Last time I had her dress me, I was wearing polka dots and pants that were way too long. It's like Harry Styles pants, right? That came all the way down to my toes. All right. All right. I was like, that was the last time she dressed me.
She probably made you look 20 years
When
younger.
you had belt bottoms?
That was because
It wasn't even belt bottoms. They were skinny. They were skinny ankles.
This was emergency outfit I had to go get for you.
There was that one time I fell into the fountain, remember?
So she dressed you.
So she went to Target.
You
And
just
she,
walk around with cheetah
Also,
prints in
see-
the wedding.
yeah, so she actually went to Target too. So there's no shame
Of
about
course,
being a Target
emergency.
shopper.
Where am I gonna go?
She wasn't going to get fitted pants the same
But
day.
she could have got me a solid colored shirt, like a solid white or solid blue. She got me a black polka dot shirt.
It probably looked nice.
It's too tight, 2 sizes too tight, right? I look like I was baking bread up in
How
this.
big were the polka dots? Was it
Little tiny little pin polka dots.
It's not like this big.
That's fine.
And then I was wearing these pants that are way too long.
Right now.
It's fine. But she had these pants that were like way too tight and way too long, right? So like it came all the way down to my toes.
Because this was emergency
She-
outfit.
yeah,
I had
she
5
had-
minutes to go get it.
my shirt was tight. My whole
Let's
outfit
see-
was tight,
let's
top
see
to
how-
bottom.
Yeah, maybe you.
I looked like I was
maybe
baking
it
bread.
was a hint.
You should have stayed wet then. Should have stayed with your wet pants. and your
Listen,
wet
the
shirt.
last time we let you dress yourself, you wore that red turtleneck. And you're still wearing that red turtleneck.
Why did I wear that red turtleneck? Oh, because Karis had an event and I wanted to dress up.
But that's the only thing you have?
Well, I had other things, but it was cold outside. I didn't want to wear a scarf, so I wore that red turtleneck. And you know what? the last laughs on you guys because I had so many compliments about my red turtleneck.
What was the demographic of the people who complimented you?
There was a young girl, definitely Gen Z, right? She was a
Okay.
parking attendant.
Oh,
she's
working.
like, ooh, she's like, ooh, I like your red turtleneck. It's really nice, right? And then there was a suit guy, the guy who was selling suits in there. He's like, oh, I like your ensemble.
He custom designs.
Yeah, he custom designed suits and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
You look European. Maybe that's why. Like this guy's from Europe.
yeah. And my
Very
fancy
fancy.
shoes and everything, you know.
Your leather shoes?
The $30 shoes?
$30 shoes?
No. These are my nice boots. I got nice
your
boots and
boots.
stuff.
Oh, your Pinocchio boots.
Your Wednesday boots.
No.
the boots
Thursday
you call
boots. Thursday.
He has several
boots.
pairs now since.
And they're not Pinocchio. How dare you?
I keep calling them Wednesday boots. He's like, what are you talking about?
Thursday boots. Shout out to Thursday. I love your products. If you want me to test your products, I'm more than happy to take some samples and take them out for a spin. But no, I love their boots. They fit my feet because I have special. I have special needs for my feet.
Wide.
Yeah, they're a little wider.
I have white feet too.
Yeah, so like
You
I
have
need
special
boots.
needs feet too.
I do.
So you know what? You need to reach out to Thursday Boots.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
And-
Wednesday boots.
Yeah, and you don't need to get my Pinocchio boots. They have other styles too.
I'll check them out.
Yeah, Thursday Boots.
They supposedly have like girls' shoes too, and their like boots are really comfortable.
And they have a storefront in by what's that triangular building?
Flatiron.
Yep. They have a showroom there. So yeah, it's really cool.
Check it out next time in the area.
Yeah. So anyway, so are you guys not making fun of me yet?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Well,
we're
maybe.
done.
We'll see. We'll see what happens along the way.
For now.
So anyway, so today's guest is someone who's been dying to get on our podcast for the
From
last 2 years.
day one.
Since day one. I think, you know, if we have like 80 listens on any particular episode, I think 79 are his. But he's been dying to get on the podcast for reasons that still escape me. I don't know why he wants to come hang out with us fools.
He wants
and
to
all
help
this
make fun of
tomfoolery.
you.
Yeah,
and
maybe he has a lot on his mind that he wants
Me
to,
and Rob been
you know.
joking that's going to be like a reverse evaluation, like where you evaluate your boss.
Yeah,
like
and I
that.
get fired and everything.
Yeah.
I might get fired. I might get a demotion or something, right? But in any case, on that note, are you guys ready to get this podcast started?
We
It's been
are.
a while. I feel a little rusty.
While. Even my mom's like, oh my God, you guys haven't recorded.
All right, let's get this podcast started. Hey guys, welcome to the Focus AF podcast. My name is Ben,
I'm Karis.
This is Jen.
And this is Ro.
and I'm not Focused AF.
Not
today.
yet.
No,
Not
not
yet.
yet.
It's too hot to be.
And I
Yeah.
think my
yeah, we're,
I think
I'm
my
hot
mic is a
AF.
little too hot. You're hot AF. So let's talk about our guest
Yes.
today. Well, we'll start with you guys. Like, how long have you guys known our guest?
I guess however long we've known you.
Yeah, a couple of years. Yeah, we always see you like in the background every time, like for a brief like meetup or like a dinner that you've invited us to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
been as long as we known you.
Yeah. So this guy came into our life when we were shooting a wedding at one of your favorite venues, right? the one who wouldn't give
The
you
one-
water.
the
when
one
you were
and
choking.
only.
Oh, yeah.
The one and only, right?
Listen, I can't talk crap. I'm going to be there twice next year. So.
Well, actually, our guest got married at that venue.
Oh.
Too.
Damn. All
They
right.
don't even know him anymore, right? He's a nobody there now, right? But we were working a wedding there, and he started chatting up my wife, right? Said, hey, what kind of
Yeah,
camera
what
you got
kind
over
of
there?
camera
Oh, you were a guest?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a guest.
Oh, he was one of those.
Yeah. Hey, what do you got over there? Hey,
yeah.
I shoot too. I'm a photographer too.
Oh.
I got that one too. I got that one too. Yeah. And my wife's trying to do like cocktail crippin' grins and stuff like that. And
I'm
this
like,
guy,
what does this guy want? Stop talking to me.
what do you got over there? Oh, what are your settings? Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah. Well, I'm a
Guy
photographer.
didn't know what he was getting himself into.
I'm a photographer too, right? But anyway, so I don't know how it happened, but at some point we met up for lunch or dinner, something like that, because he used to work near where we lived and everything. So we met up, and he expressed an interest in doing this, and this was right around the time we were. Karis might have been. The family was still young. I think Grayson might have been 1 or 2 years old or something like that. So we still needed a little bit of help. So I was like, all
Was
right.
Grayson born already?
Grayson was born already. Yeah, he must have been like 1 because our guest is he came around 2013. I want to say 2013, 2014, something like that. So Grayson would have been about 1, right? So I remember telling him, hey, listen, whatever you do, don't
Quit your
day job because I don't know, like my wife can come back to work any moment. I know that you enjoy this. And he's like, all right, yeah, that's no problem. But like, just so you know, I really enjoy doing this. And I was like, well,
like keep your daytime job.
Right?
Do not quit because we don't know if we have enough work for you.
And then a couple months later, he's like, hey, Ben and Karis, I quit my job.
Help me. Help me.
I was like,
use all of me.
What have you done? He's like, I'm all yours. I'm like, what have you done? Right? Anyway, I guess we'll let him fill in the blanks. But anyway, guys, without further ado, let me introduce you guys to our good friend, our longtime associate, Steve Capone. Welcome to the podcast, Steve.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me.
It's a pleasure.
So how much have I shared with you is true, or how your recollection of the event?
Besides the conversation with Karis, majority of it was true. I did walk up to Karis. I did chit-chat her for a second. Oh, you shoot Nikon? I got a Nikon. At the time, I was looking for a lot of weekend work. Was not loving my day job, but it was a job. So I quickly, that was in December 2013. So just over 11 years, just almost 11 years, I think. So it's been some time. Yeah, at that time, I was looking to break into the wedding industry, just to get some more photography weekend work going on. I was doing family portraits, family sessions, newborn sessions. Not loving them so much, but just getting my foot in the door, just doing anything photography. My day job was a graphic designer, multimedia. I was doing their product photography and video work as well, so I had photography still in the background. And quickly did I know, I jumped into a meeting with Ben, and it's been a long roller coaster ever since. It's a lot of ups and downs, but a lot of highs.
This commercial work that you were doing for this company, what were you photographing? Because I think that's really fun.
It was just simple little products that you put in your showroom or in your household, just little products.
It was plumbing parts, y'all.
It was not plumbing
I
parts.
thought that was the most wow, that's pretty cool, I think.
No, it was little doodads here and there for in a storefronts and all that fun things. But it was an okay job. It was just not the most energetic job. I understand that 9 to 5 was not the best job for me. I was stuck behind a desk all day long, not enjoying it, and on weekends, I was getting to go out and enjoy these parties and having a great time and loving the lifestyle. Quickly, a year went by and I was not loving my job at all. I really was in a bad place. My manager was just not supportive. And after meeting Ben and training under him for a little while, his energy and his personality was so captivating that I was like, I can trust this guy with anything. He is one to follow. He is one to give me good advice. So I was like, I'm going to quit my 9 to 5. And
made me cry.
Every day calls for 100% raise.
So I knew at the time he was not going to be able to support me. I was second shooting then. I was not even lead. I knew I needed some
I didn't
time.
pay him that much either.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I'll get started in my first job with you in a little bit, but
Second shooter for a
long time.
Yeah.
I
I needed a lot of
Yeah,
training,
yeah.
let's say. But after a little while, it was really nice. We worked our way up to lead in 2015, 2016, and it was a good time.
Steve was ready to lead, I think, for about 2 years before we actually put him on.
Yeah.
He's like, put me in, coach. I'm ready. I'm like, no, not yet. Right? He's like, no, put me in, coach. I'm ready. Anyway, but we're glad he got to be lead. And I think he takes that title very seriously. Yeah. You'll know. You'll know. When he shows up into the room, he'll tell you.
I am the lead.
I'm not just a regular photographer for PPS. I'm the lead photographer for PPS.
When the venue asks, "Who are you?" I'm the main. Bitch. I'm the
I
main.
always make it a point to shake the fathers of the bride's hand. I'm like, hi, I'm the lead
I'm the
photographer
lead
for the day.
photographer.
So that
I'm
Joe
nobody's
Schmo you've
bitch.
been working with as a second? No,
I'm not
he's
the bitch.
It took me 2 years working under Ben to get here.
Give me my flowers, all right? You put respect to my name.
So what was the thought process when he told you not to quit your job? And you did.
There was a one requirement: do not quit your job.
just don't quit your
not
job.
quit your
And
job.
unfortunately, things were just going downhill at that company, and I was just not mentally sound to stay there any longer. And
For your
it was
mental
just
health.
it was a thing where my wife, my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, was very supportive, and she was like, if you want to do this, go ahead. Financially, I have a stable job. I will support you in any way possible. And
That's awesome.
so I quit my 9 to 5. I actually worked at my wife's office. She worked at an office manager at a law firm, and it was her aunt. So it was family business, and it was very inviting to come on in, just paperwork pushing during the day. Nothing too crazy. Didn't have to
By
work
the way,
anything.
the aunt that got him the very first camera.
No, Aunt got
Oh,
him
good.
Aunt
a
got him
D4 and a 7200.
yes.
No, she didn't give me 7200. She just got me the D4.
The body.
Okay, only.
And
Wait,
yeah,
yeah,
at the time, early 2011,
She gave you a D4?
12.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. She is a very nice aunt.
Yes.
And I
Is she looking for
owe her.
extra
That's
nephews
what I asked
and
him.
nieces?
Just want to adopt another.
Hey, but look what turned out of that. Which is
Exactly.
good.
No, she
Yeah,
launched. I
yeah.
thank her for more than life itself.
That's
She
amazing,
has
man.
launched my career and helped me get to the place I am today. So, so quickly I had that D4. I was working in the industry, and
Let's give this on a shout out. Who do we give a shout out to?
AMRG.
That's
We're gonna
awesome.
do big foghorns here. Huh?
Yeah, so they helped me out during the 9 to 5 days where I was now unemployed technically, but I was assisting with Ben. Ben had me out on his first wedding, and my first wedding with Ben was 18 hours long.
Holy
you remember it?
shit.
Do you remember it?
Oh yeah.
Where was
Where
it?
was it? Who
Yeah.
was it?
We
Do you
were in
remember?
Brooklyn.
Was
I
it a
met you.
Chinese
I
one?
met you at your house at 5 in the morning. Somehow we got to Brooklyn by
This is
6 a.m. And it was a
Wow.
Chinese, traditional Chinese wedding. So we started in one house, did getting ready, tea ceremony at
I
one,
think
That's
this was
Jackson and Amy.
Yep, Jackson
and broke down. Went to the other house, did a separate tea ceremony all day long. And
You were assisting, right?
I was assisting
So you was
then.
in photo booth too.
Oh yes. Oh gosh,
That's
that
why
photo
it was
booth.
longer.
That's what I was
That
The
nightmare
ghetto
of a photo booth. And we had a full day, finished around 11
Yeah,
o'clock, 12
probably.
at night, and
God.
home by 1. And that was a Sunday night. So I actually was still having my 9 to 5 job that next day. So wake up,
We
go to
put him
work
through
the next
ringer.
day.
We put him through the
Yeah,
ringer.
it was quite an experience, but it worked out for the long run.
He's still here.
Hard worker.
And I wasn't charging that much back then.
No, I
Right?
think I
I was
made
charging
Yeah,
peanuts, so
yeah.
I couldn't afford to pay anyone.
Okay,
Right.
so we asked all our guests,
How much was it?
what was the
All right,
first
I'll give
gig
them a
that Ben paid you?
To be honest, I don't remember.
I do.
Might be about $200.
That's right.
Maybe
Yep.
100,
Okay.
but
About
yeah,
$20 an
200.
hour.
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah.
If he worked for 15 hours, then it would be 300. But it wasn't 15 hours. It's probably 12 hours. So he probably got like
Minimum
240,
wage.
250.
Yep.
Yeah, 20 hours
Exactly.
an hour. 20 hours an hour.
Yeah,
A little bit more than minimum wage.
But for an assistant, for 10 years ago, that's not terrible.
yeah.
For an assistant?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a lunch break?
Throw me under the bus.
No, but it was a
Cigarette
Chinese
break,
wedding. So
anything.
if you ever been to a Chinese wedding, you know their delicacies and the fish laid out, eyeballs and all on the table.
Well, he's supposed to have the whole
And,
thing.
and Steve does not eat any.
No.
If you can see the eyeballs, he doesn't eat it, right?
When Steve knows if it's an Indian wedding, he brings his own lunch.
Yeah, lunchbox and all.
I was like, Steve, you
His
bought a,
Lunchables?
Yep,
You bought a ham
Steve
and
brings-
cheese sandwich?
Yep, Steve brings PB&J.
Yeah, that's solid. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a solid meal.
Yeah, he doesn't eat. He doesn't. I don't think you eat spicy, right?
Oh, I'll do it. Oh, my palate has changed since then.
No. Yeah, but yeah, no, I do feed him. But anyway, you guys go ask him. I've made a commitment to let Steve answer his own questions for the duration of this interview.
Oh, it's gonna be
But we did pay him like minimum. We always paid him at least $20 an hour. But he quickly rose up in the ranks, and
So, what made you stick around with this guy instead of like
it's not just me. It's Garnish
going?
too.
Well,
No,
it's bad.
it's bad.
Yeah. Instead of like trying to network with other photographers and maybe looking for other opportunities.
So early in the career, I came from a very hardworking background, and I knew that not everything will be handed to you. You need to put your sweat and your tears. You need to do the long hours. I don't recommend it too much to certain people these days, but because you got to put food on your plate. But at that time, with my 9-to-5 job and being able to have a supportive girlfriend/wife at the time, I knew I was going to be able to do this long work on weekends and build it up, hopefully, to something more sustainable. Now, 10 years go by, and I right now, my wife is unemployed. She is back in school going for a master's program. A shout out to you, Melissa. I love you so much. You are
Yay!
a very strong woman, a mother of 2 beautiful daughters.
We love you.
And a bunny.
And a bunny.
Yes,
We just
bunny.
recently adopted a bunny. But yeah, she was my heart and soul, my backbone back then. And so I was working at these jobs, helping Ben or doing other things and working for very minimum wage at the time. I don't think minimum wage was even sustainable at that time, but it quickly advanced and I quickly learned a lot more by just following Ben around, watching the behind the scenes. And I still do that to today. We still like to go out and second shoot for each other here and there.
That's
and
the best way to learn.
Oh, 100%. I have just, what was it, the past September, October, I've been second shooting for Ben a lot more lately. And just to see how his little tricks in the trades have changed over the years and trying to update myself and my other colleagues of Pearl Paper Studio.
I'm not terrible.
No,
Contrary to what
you know
popular
what?
opinion is.
There's always something. I always say there's always something that you can learn from people, whether it's good or bad. Like I second shot a lot. I associate for certain people, and there's certain things that I learned that hey, that's useful. Like that's awesome. And there's things where I would never do that, and I'm never gonna do that. You know, so. There's always a lot to soak in just by watching people.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they get preoccupied with their hourly rate or whatever. But the thing is, there's more value just learning, just watching people do things.
Yep.
And on top of that, it's also your relationship with other fellow vendors as well. There's value there as well.
Because at that time I was not associate shooting, but I was freelance shooting for a couple other agencies, shopping around, working any job I can get at the time. I was looking to propose to my wife. I needed extra income. I wasn't going to get that with that measly hourly wage at my 9-to-5 job. So anything that was coming in extra was helping. So I was not just before I met Ben, I was with other various companies jumping around, and their traits and their little teaching methods just didn't line up with my morals, with what I liked. They were just cutthroat. We're here for the job. We're here to photograph bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, sweet 16s, anything. Yeah. And those were fun. Don't get me wrong, but I love the relationships that I build with my clients to today. Ben has showed me that you are not just photographing somebody's wedding, you are photographing their life, their very momentous moment of their life. Just last weekend, I went into a client's house that I photographed their wedding back in 2020, and I gained a great relationship with them over the years. And I just did their newborn session with their daughter, and I walked in their house and walking everywhere, every wall with our photos from their wedding and their engagement shoot. And we don't get into our clients' houses very often. So being able to see that was just like a very big jab to the heart, being like, oh my God, this is so
important. What we do.
So important to us. So,
but there's one thing that I try to instill with all of our associates, everyone on our team, is that we don't want our clients to feel like this experience was transactional. And this is something I share with our clients on the first consult. You're inviting us to be a part of this really intimate time in your life. So we invite you into our lives as well. We want you guys to be comfortable with us as well. It's not just going to be some stranger who shows up on your wedding day with a camera.
You know what's funny? Like that's your philosophy, and you have a studio with associates. One thing that we tell clients as we're trying to book the wedding is the opposite of that. We'll be like, yeah, you don't want to book a studio because most studios are like this. Like they just send anybody, and you're just getting this random person that you haven't met on the day of. So that's our selling point, and it's so funny because you're selling the opposite.
I'm selling well PPS. That's exactly. I was like, listen, you find Steve on Instagram, go at him. He'll add you back.
I encourage my clients to come find me because as much as Ben handles all the logistics prior to them booking with us, I love for my clients to reach out to me. I love, we only have done it a handful of times, but we've done little Skype interviews because they want to meet me beforehand. But primarily what we like to promote is that we do these complimentary engagement shoots for every session of ours. So that is my time to shine, to meet them prior to our wedding day and to get to them to know me to get to know them. Knock on wood, I've only had one terrible incident, but besides that, everything else has been.
Get into this?
Yeah, we can. We're not.
One terrible incident.
It wasn't a terrible incident.
I know which one too.
It was, unfortunately, it was just as COVID happened, and we were up at our favorite engagement shoot location, New Jersey Botanical Gardens. And at that time, they were limiting how many people came into the park. And I didn't know that. I pulled up like usual, paid my fee, and drove right in. And then they closed the gate behind me. Little did I know. And I went. I drove to parking lot B, and then my clients called me. And they're like, "We can't get in." I'm like, "Well, what do you mean you can't get in? They won't let us in." I'm like, "What's going on?" So now I had to track from parking lot B all the way to the gate and fight the gate guards to let my clients in, saying, "Hey, we are on the list. We pay for permits. We pay for our permits. We do every due diligence. Why can't you let our people in?" And finally, they're like, "All right, we'll let you in." But a little did I know that was the end of that. It wasn't the end of that story. And they wrote a nice spicy email to Ben yelling at me.
Oh, that's right. Because those clients, they got really salty. They started being foul with the park. So, hey, listen, we know, and the park wrote to us, say, hey, listen, we know that you got a permit, but that doesn't give you guys any right to abuse.
Park wrote you an email,
the park
not
wrote
the
us an email.
client.
No, the park.
Oh.
Sorry.
Park wrote us an email. The Rangers,
they
are like,
found out about it.
they were like, that gives your clients no right to treat us that way or talk to us in that way.
Because the groom was
he was
not
explosive.
nice,
he was not a nice guy.
That was not a good engagement shoot. His just personality, his demeanor was just
RBF.
It was probably unfortunately due to the circumstance, but he was
The
just
bad
not
part
mentally
made
there.
him
That
even
just started
more,
everything. Just
like
it was
He
a
had a
very
phone in his pocket.
No, he had a phone or a comb, right? Something was it phone?
No, it was a phone. It was a phone in his pocket. You saw an
His
imprint
back
of it.
pocket. He's like, you didn't even catch this. Like
He was finding every reason. He's finding every reason.
just to get out of the contract.
So I
So
know Steve was probably frazzled because of
That
this
whole
happening
gate
at the gate.
And
So he
Groom
didn't
was
catch the
probably
phone.
like,
Because
Groom
usually
was probably-
Steve catches the phone.
It was on the back pocket, so I don't know.
In any case, the guy was finding any reason to complain.
It's an easy fix either way.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they cancel the contract?
yes, so they canceled the contract.
Good
And
riddance, right?
it was just,
Yep.
to be
Goodbye.
honest, it just didn't work
It was
out. It
blessings.
wasn't
Yep.
meant to be,
Yep.
and I'm okay with that. And
Yep.
no hard feelings at the end of the day. So,
Yeah.
Best wishes.
yeah. And the funny thing
Thoughts
is,
and
Good luck.
But I know a lot of our associates are probably listening, right, to this episode because, Steve's one of our star guys, right? But I will say, though, among all of our team members, Steve is probably the most OCD out of all of them.
Yep.
Mhm.
So he would catch the phones. He would catch the phones,
Yep.
right?
It
just that-
happens.
Simple stuff.
I catch it.
Steve
90%
never
of the
gets
time.
complaints.
It still happens
I
to
try
me
not.
where I forget.
Yeah, of course.
Or sometimes they have the pants. That
Yep.
you could tell they wear that pants all the time.
Yep.
And there's an outline of the wallet and
Yeah,
the phone. Like
yeah.
right now, I just spent like a whole family session
Yeah.
fixing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like that day, it's not noticeable, but in photo, like later
Yeah.
you see it. Oh, there
Yeah.
was a phone or something in the pocket. Yep.
It was
Potential
actually,
clients, take your phones out of your pocket.
Yes. Yes.
I don't
And
think
your
potential clients are
keys.
listening.
Yeah.
Well, you never
It's
know.
some-
there was
some
actually a
problem.
viral TikTok yesterday of this woman posted up her photo. She was like, imagine paying $2,500 in your wedding photos and they come back like this. She forgot to take off her hair tie.
Ugh.
Oh, I think
The
I
bride.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
okay,
It was
so
on
many
people.
things
Man.
are wrong
It was
here.
on people, not people.
Yeah, it was on
What?
people. Why it was on people is
What?
beyond me.
This article was on people.
On People Magazine?
Yeah, people
Yeah.
But
magazine.
number one, 2,500 is not that much.
That's what I'm saying. So many things went wrong. You hired a low budget studio.
Yeah, right.
So it was probably an associate who doesn't care and doesn't know. Like, if you're the bride, you would notice she's in every photo. Like, you could have said,
And then-
like, take that off.
Yes.
And then like, come
Number
on.
two, that's very
edit
easy.
it out.
And that's
Edit it
easy.
out.
That's very easy to remove these days. With
Easy to
AI,
remove.
it's very easy to
Edit
remove.
it out. Come on.
But still, but
Yep.
to act like your photos are ruined.
Ruin. That was the
No.
title.
Because of the hair
like,
tie? Because of the
yep,
hair
that
tie?
was the
Stop it.
title.
Yeah.
Like how to ruin somebody's
His
wedding
wedding photo.
photo.
That is the photographer's fault.
I'm gonna
Like,
remember
Yep,
that.
that was
you
the
were,
photographer's fault.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
like how they
How do
throw
you
the
not
photographer under
tell?
the
Yep.
bus.
Yep.
Do you have any other horror stories? You remember any of your unhappy
jeez.
clients?
Oh, the
That
other,
that
there was a
unhappy
one.
client.
Well, there was one for horror for you. That
Recent?
you called us.
I'm trying to figure out what incidents this is.
Yeah, you don't remember?
It will come to mind, but-
We even prank you every year for that.
Oh,
yes!
no, that was not a terrible incident, though.
Yes.
So,
Not every year, but every so often
We
you bring
did
it up.
several years after that. Yeah, every
and
year
it
after
actually
that,
has
you'll
been
see
talked
it.
about on this podcast before. But
Yes.
yeah, unfortunately, I was second shooting for one of our
No,
leads.
you were lead shooting.
No, I was second shooting for Benson.
Oh,
Oh, you're right. You're right. I
Yes,
remember the
yes,
name now.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
You went
I
to
was
the
second
wrong
shooting.
location,
Here's the
right?
one. Huh?
Went
no,
to
no,
the
no,
wrong
no,
location?
no.
Let her tell the story.
okay.
All right, so let me.
Let's
Real quick, right? I need you guys to understand to set up this story. You guys have to understand that Steve is a straight shooter, straight as an arrow.
Clean cut.
Okay, he's
Plain,
clean cut.
straight.
He doesn't break the rules. He follows the rules.
He's a rule follower.
He's a rule follower. Okay, so anything that deviates from that,
Good
right?
citizen.
Anytime there's chaos in his universe, there's chaos. Okay, he doesn't know what to do with himself. All right.
Freaks out.
I
Carry
text
on,
mom and
carry
dad
on.
right away,
All
right
right.
here, just like, oh, this is going on.
All right, continue.
So yeah, I happened to show up to groom prep at the hotel. My lead shooter was just across the hall doing his thing, and going to groom prep. Everybody's packed room, usual guys just everywhere, mostly all dressed. And I pose the groom, do all stuff, and he's like, "All right, so how do you want me to wear my gun?" And he pulls up his leg, and he has an ankle gun, and I'm like, okay, I don't feel too safe. I'm like, you guys are not cops, right? And they're like, no, we're not cops. So, all right, well, this is all right. Well, I'll take a shot, but then let's just put it away. And he's like, all right, well, everybody, we're gonna smoke this bag, right? And he just pulls out a decent amount of weed. And
This was like
Wait, you're gonna say like cocaine.
no.
Weed, I'm like, all right.
No, I had
But
a
this was
cocaine
like
incident at another wedding, and
10
that
years
was
ago,
a
before
whole
it was
nother
legal.
story.
legal, guys.
Before it was legal.
Yeah, before it was legal. I think it was 2015, 2016
yep,
maybe.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it was a very awkward incident. So I
Yep.
did my job, and normally I would stay behind, hang out in the room, photograph the guys, and just hanging out, having a good time. But I got out in the hallway and just texted Ben and Karis and was like, what do I do in this incident? Because I am uncomfortable.
He's like,
I
I am
know it's illegal.
uncomfortable.
We
Yep.
are in New York State, and
Yep.
I didn't know what to do. So quickly, they were like, yeah, just hang out outside the room and just wait to the next part. So that's
Just remove yourself from the situation.
Yeah,
And
And
so,
so-
why would you have a fucking gun on your wedding
I
day?
have
Like,
no
Who do you need
idea.
to shoot up? Who
Unless
do
you're
you need
down
to-
south, I know it's a little
Yeah.
gag. I see
Yeah.
brides maybe like, oh yeah, raise your hand to object, and I'll shoot you kind of joke.
You
But
need to eliminate at your wedding.
yeah, no,
Who
it
do
made
you
no
need to eliminate?
sense. And yeah, the rest of the day was just a very awkward day
Yeah.
to be around. But
Uncomfortable. Yeah.
We've had guns.
We had-
on
we
two other
had- we
occasions
had
too.
guns, too.
One of them was MJ's, and they were law enforcement, so that's different.
I
Yeah,
shot
which
that
is
with them.
fine.
Yeah, that's fine. They're all cops.
They're all
yeah,
cops,
they're all
right?
cops.
But there was another one. These were like God-fearing,
I shot
like
both
Bible
of them, yep.
Bible thumping,
like hardcore
Bible thumping
down south. This was Maryland,
Mhm.
right? Yep.
and they want to just pose with their guns and
Guns,
stuff
like, all
and
the-
Bibles, guns and Bibles, right? I was like,
I'm like, what?
did you Photoshop
Yeah, I
them
did.
out with kittens?
no, he had guns and Bibles and stuff, and he just wanted to pose like a groom, like flying V.
all the guys had guns, not
Flying
just
V.
the one guy.
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
Yep.
Flying V with guns and Bibles. And also, another fun fact, right? This couple had never kissed before because I did their engagement session. I was like, oh,
They don't
let's
kiss,
do a
yeah.
kiss,
Because for the wedding, yeah.
Yeah,
right? So their first kiss was
Yep.
at the altar, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the most awkward kiss I had ever seen in my life. It was
And
like open
and
mouth.
it was gonna like thunderstorm, like clouds, dark clouds moving in that.
But
ceremony.
regardless, that was the weirdest kiss I've ever seen in my
That
life.
was one of the
Oh my
weirdest
God.
weddings actually.
Sounds
yeah.
so crazy.
It was one of the weirdest weddings.
Hey, listen, if you want to bring guns, whatever, right? But the thing is that particular one was a little weird, and yours was a little bit extra too,
Yeah.
with drugs and guns and
drugs
stuff.
and guns. Oh my gosh.
Still to today, Ben likes to pull a prank on me. I think our first conference right after that was he was like, "Oh, Steve, grab something out of my bag," and was a bag of
A BB gun?
No,
no, it
No,
was a
bag
toy
of-
gun. I think it was one of his kids' guns,
Yep.
but it was a bag of oregano.
And then a
And,
bag of weed.
Yeah, a bag of weed. So
I'm gonna send this video over to Dirty, and he can kind of superimpose it, right? But basically,
we have a video of
we
it.
have a video of it, right? So, hey, Steve, I need to get something from my bag. Can you grab it? And then I had
much younger me.
I had a gun and a bag of weed, bag of oregano. I was like, hey, you got that? And he was mortified. It was the funniest prank ever. It was hilarious. We like to pull it out every so often, but I think it's gonna make its return when this episode airs. I'm gonna send it over to
Next,
Dirty, so we
next
can
holiday
show it.
party.
At some point, it has to die.
So
Yep.
funny.
It's never gonna die.
So, why did you decide to be an associate photographer
That's a big question that people.
and
Yeah, I can
go
understand.
into
So,
your own thing?
being an associate shooter was just, it came naturally to me. I did not like to be too in front of the limelight. I didn't like to be in charge. I like to take orders. I'm not going to be that guy that is going to run my own business and also have my family. So by being an associate shooter, I rely on Ben and Karis so much and our office manager, Abby, to Abby, shout out. They really help us manage all the logistics, all the negotiations, the legality stuff of it all. Things I don't have to worry about at the end of the day. All my focus at the end of the day is just to practically show up with the camera and do what I love best, and that's creating beautiful pictures.
That sounds like my job.
Correct.
That sounds exactly
Correct.
like my
Yo,
I'm
yo,
glad you acknowledge that. I'm glad you acknowledge
You
that.
and Ben.
You're basically the
I'm an associate.
You're
Yes.
for our photo.
Correct. Correct. I mean, we talk about this all the time that like, and we've come across this with friends of ours that we don't understand why they don't run their own business, but some people are better at running a business, being the boss, doing their thing, and there's people who just want to just show up, do what they love, and walk away, and not have to worry about it.
and make money and do what you love.
So you can't fault people for that. I feel like sometimes we get like frustrated with certain friends that like can do it, but at the end of the day, if they don't have the heart and the drive for it, then it's not something that you can force on them.
So that's different. We fault them because they say they want to do it. They
Correct.
say they want to build their business, and then they do the opposite, right? Because we always say there's nothing wrong. If you want to be a second shooter, you can make 6 figures if you shoot enough weddings as a second shooter. But if you're saying the opposite and you're like asking people for help, and then you're not actually doing the work, that's different. That's what frustrates us. As
You know who you are.
Oh damn!
I think at the end of the day, it's more of like not a denial, but like not recognizing that you have your own strengths and weaknesses. And then at the end of the day, like for Steve, he recognized I don't want to run my own thing, and I have someone else do all the shitty work, and I just show up and have fun and a good time.
And this is one of the things that I talk about when I go on my talks, when I talk to other people about running an associate business. There are certain set of criteria that I'm looking for when I'm bringing people on board. Because a lot of people ask me about associate teams because like I think there are only maybe 3 in our market who are very personal when they come to their approach. The other ones are like, just factories, like wedding
just
factories.
book it and
they just book it and they send
anybody,
anyone,
yep.
right? But like I think we're one of 3 who are, they have a more personal approach to run their associate team. And one of the criteria is, beyond just creating great images and being a great human being, we are also looking for folks who have zero interest in running a business. They don't have the time or the bandwidth to do it. And knowing Steve for so many years, I know that his priority is going to be his family.
Yeah.
Right. He wants to be able to spend time and watch his daughters grow, and spend time with his wife, his beautiful wife. We want to make sure that we're not pulling him away from all that. Because the thing is, we're already pulling him away from for the weekends. We only got 52 weekends a year. He's gone for at least 30 some of them. Right. Maybe even more if you include the engagement sessions. Right. So if he were to do the sales and marketing, if he were to do all the blogging and the social media and the contracting
consultations
and the consultations and all that kind of stuff, right?
And the album design.
He's going to lose all his weekdays.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, for that many weddings, yeah.
He's going to lose all his weekdays too. So for us, we're very lucky to have Steve because what?
Leg goes up.
Don't look. Stop looking.
Chainsaws are back.
You do not have my permission. I do not consent.
No.
Every time she looks at me, she's like, "Oh,
literally sweating. And I'm trying not to laugh because then I got even hotter. So like we're sucking the oxygen out of the room when we laugh.
But like Steve, and he ended up being the perfect fit for what we were trying to do. You know what I mean? And we're very lucky that I would say almost all of our associates same arrangement as well. They don't have the time or the interest or the bandwidth because they have other priorities.
Mm-hmm.
And they all have full-time jobs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's talk about your full-time job, Steve.
So I was working a wedding one time, and after I quit my 9-to-5 job, doing this office manager stuff at the other company, and I was shooting a wedding one weekend, and a brother of the groom approached me, and he was just like, "Oh, you do photography?"
Duh.
Crap, I have a camera in my hand. But he was asking, have you ever been interested in doing real estate photography? And at that time, I did it once. It was an okay experience. It was a family realtor friend of mine. But I was like, I guess I got all the time in the world. I would love to do photography full time all day long. So I quickly had a meeting with him, just like I did with Ben, and something about their demeanor and their personality is just very trusting. I don't know if I'm just a very gullible person, but the gentleman who hired me for his company was just a very sweet guy. I think Ben did the brother of the wedding, and then MJ did the groom.
Yep. No. Benson did the other brother.
Yep. We shot a whole lot
Benson?
of them.
We shot the whole family.
Yeah.
Yep.
We shot the whole
So
family.
they recently, I think, just had a baby.
Right, like that.
Yeah, but yeah. So I met a company called Jump Visual. I started working for them back in 2015, and it's been a very fun experience ever since. I get to shoot about, depending on the real estate market, about 800 homes a year. Yeah, I'll do roughly about 15 to 20 homes a week, give or take, depending on the seasons. Obviously, some seasons are better than others. But yeah, it's a really fortunate job that I get to dictate my schedule that way. It's not like I work for them as their employee, but I am a freelance artist for them. So jobs come in, I book them as I can see fit throughout the week, Monday through what is so-called Monday through Friday. I usually try to just never offer my weekends to them, as if I'm not working weddings, I am shooting. I try to be with the family. But some days I'll have a Thursday, Friday wedding that Ben and Karis, they'll book for me, which is great. But then I got the flexibility of not being like, I'm going to call out sick today. It's just, no, I don't book a real estate appointment that day, and I build a day up with more appointments.
Because the wedding bookings are 6 to 12 months out, maybe even more.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So it's still a very flexible 9 to 5 or
His
more
control
full time.
of it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
His
My
weekday
control.
work is very
Flexible.
flexible.
Yep.
Very. So it's very easy to work around that as well. Like just before this podcast, I real quick ran down to Roseland, did a quick photo shoot, and came right here. And that'll be it for the day because we are going out partying after this.
Yeah, Steve and I are going to and his beautiful wife.
And your gorgeous
Don't
wife.
let
I'm
Ben
about to say, don't
party
forget
too
about
hard.
What, is just you two going?
So all right, so
Yep,
this
those
this
It's just me and Ben.
so originally they
The way
always
it's
gave
meant
us
to
2
be.
tickets, right? I was like, oh, if that's the case, just me and Steve going. That's no fun, right? We want to bring our wives, so I had to make a couple of phone calls.
No, actually, no. So they sent us an invite, and Ben announced to the whole group, "Hey, who wants to go?"
We don't know he only had 2.
Yeah, well, I
and
know,
then,
I
and
had
then
2
I was
tickets.
like, Ben Lau. It says one guest and then plus 1, like so 2. Like I was like, Ben Lau, did you even read this? You're only allowed like 2 people. He's
He's
like, oh
bringing 8.
shit.
I was like, oh shit, I don't
He
need
invited
it.
the whole PPS group. I'm
like-
like,
like
thank
16
God
of
only
us.
Steve and Mel wants to come. So Ben reached out, and then Ben left. So this was Pro Paper invite first, and then they
Worst comes
sent
to worst, it would have been you and Mel.
I believe there's like 70 something people coming,
Well,
which is going to be great.
regardless,
Yeah.
worst comes to worst, I
gonna
would
be a
have
good
given
time. Yep.
I would have given up my ticket so that you and your beautiful wife could have gone.
Thank you.
Paper ticket anyway.
Hey man. Anyway, I reached out and they were gracious enough to give us 2 extra tickets. So the 4 of us are going.
Yeah, so should be a good evening. But yeah, overall, I have that flexibility of having that great weekday job going on where I can do my real estate stuff and then focus on weddings. And that's primarily my 2 focuses. I try to dabble in family photography and all those family sessions, but I can't, even though having kids, I cannot handle certain kids to a certain extent. I'm better with drunk people than
Some of your kids, right?
So
Then you'll have a great time with Ben tonight.
trust me.
I'm going to go easy on the soft. This is not going to be like a repeat of what do you call it? No. Well, that too. But Vegas. I'm always in my
God.
worst behavior when we're in Vegas because I don't
Yes.
have to drive nowhere. You know what I mean?
This is up in Sparta, so you'll have a little windy roads to get home.
Yep.
No, I'm not drinking that. I'm going to go easy on
You're
the sauce.
driving.
Yeah, I'm driving. It's fine. We'll be good.
So, any other pros and cons of being an associate?
Oh, geez. Some pros. Well, do I want to get canceled or not? Is the question. Mostly pros. Pros, like I said before, it's Ben handles a lot of Ben and Karis. I'm sorry, Karis.
And Abby.
And Abby. Thank you, Abby. She handles.
Mainly Abby
No,
now.
so majority of the pros now have been that Ben has taken on a office manager back in 2021.
Something like that.
Something
She's
like
been
that.
with us 2 years.
2 years. Prior to that, it was Ben and Karis doing all the work. And occasions like that, they had 2 companies, were focusing primarily on Pro Paper and Ben Lau at the time. And unfortunately, there might be like a spelling typo or a misprint of time on a schedule. And little do I know, I'm not handling it. I just get the itinerary sent to me.
Sounds on brand.
I show up. I don't need to be needed at groom prep till 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock.
No.
Well, that was meant to be at 12 o'clock. And so stuff like that's happened. So Abby, thank you so much for being so awesome that you are.
But you said you guys
Karis,
never
we
showed up
love you,
early or
but
late because of a typo?
Ever.
Okay, all right.
Well, they
This is somebody's life. They're letting you in. You know, they're letting you into their lives.
so those are are sometimes the cons of being
It
an
happened
associate
once.
shooter.
Okay, once.
Listen, we do
In
100 weddings a year.
15
Okay?
years.
In 15 years, 100 weddings a year. That's a lot of weddings.
Yeah, no,
guys.
I mean, of course things happen. I think to his point is that like now you have someone to kind of help
Yes.
take care
Right,
of
yeah.
all of that.
What Steve was trying to say that you should have got somebody years ago. Years
Got
prior.
Abby years ago.
We should have Abby years and years and years ago.
She came into the picture at the right time, so it has worked out for the best. But so even though those are some pros and cons, so they brought on an office manager that really helped us in the long run. But the cons prior to that were just they were just overworked and crazy, and I don't know
Definitely
how
crazy.
between
Crazy.
myself, MJ, Ed, Benson at the time too, and
Miles
Ben
was
Lau photography, like the 5 weddings a weekend, 6 weddings a weekend.
Oh, no.
Like how many itineraries can you go over that can
It's a lot.
mix? So
Said the wrong
luckily
person.
they have stayed on top of it ever since. But yeah, you run into instances like that, and then it's just unfortunately you're the person of the day, so it's just looks bad on you.
It falls on you. Yeah.
But for the most part, that has been really the only con. Majority of the time, I cannot promote being an associate shooter more than I do. It's just what fits my lifestyle the best and what helps me thrive and make this my income.
That definitely is a con. I remember when I associate shot, they told me it was for 2 shooters, so I was the associate and I brought a second. They told me that there was no groom prep. So I was like, all right, since it was in Long Island, we'll drive together, you could chill and just watch me while I do bride prep, and then we'll get the ball rolling. I show up to bride prep and the bride goes, so when is your second shooter going to the groom? I was like, you said you didn't want groom prep. She said, I never said that.
Oh, shit.
So I'm like, well, luckily it was next door. I was like, hey, you got to go to work. But everyone looked at me like in the room, like
Yeah.
I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
So that is something that
Yeah, luckily
that
you
kind of sucks.
worked out for you.
Yeah,
but
it was right there. Like imagine it would have been like 40 minutes
Yeah.
away.
that was what happened to us. Like
Yeah.
it was bride prep in Nutley, and the groom was getting ready in Jersey City. So it was kind of like she was like, "Why are 2 of you here? Well, when are you going over there?" And we're like, "Oh my god! Like I'm never going to be able to get there, get back."
Yeah.
Church was around the corner from the bride's house, so. I said, hey, get to the church. I'll mock you up, get you ready, and make you look good that way.
You should need 10 minutes with the groom.
Well, luckily,
Exactly.
prior to Abby, the mistakes were few and far between.
Mhm.
Very, very. I mean, and considering the volume that we were doing, it was just 2 of us handling it. Actually, mostly Kara's handling it, right?
Mhm.
The mistakes are very few and far between.
But thankfully, like we made it up and they were happy with it.
And also, Steve tends to show up 30 minutes early everywhere he goes.
Yes.
So I don't ask him to do that. He just does that on his own.
30 is the minimum I
think
show up
that's a
early.
good habit.
I've
That's a
had
good
too many
habit.
Long Island weddings from where I live out in West Jersey
Yeah.
that it's a 2-3 hour drive, and
Yeah.
GW
Oh, no.
traffic on a Friday.
Oh my god.
Never.
Mm-mm.
Got to be out
Yep.
there by 10, 11
Oh
o'clock.
my
Yeah,
gosh.
you'll be screwed. So
We were definitely good this year. We always get there on time. Like
to the
or
minute.
like 5-10
To
minutes.
the minute.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but
No.
intentionally, like we don't want to be there early and
Too
sit
early.
around. But this year we've been arriving like crazy early. Like I don't know what it is this
No,
year that we're
well,
just
you're
like
getting older too, so
Yeah.
yeah.
that's what it is.
I always-
The
Yeah, I go
anxiety
early. Yeah,
is like,
yeah.
I'm like, I don't have to do
Yeah,
this anymore.
yeah,
I want to be
Yeah.
able to show
Yeah.
up
Get the
early.
anxiety.
Listen, if I'm up early already, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm
Yeah.
up. So
Yeah.
let's go. That's why
There was one that we were late. We ended up being late just 5 minutes. It didn't really matter, but the feeling that I had, like, because it turned into an hour and 40-minute drive turned to 2.5 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So even we checked the night before, Waze with traffic gave us the time, and it was still more.
Yeah.
So we left early, and we still got there. Luckily, it was only 5 minutes, which is not a big deal.
Yeah.
But man, the feeling that I had, I was like, this is
Nope, yep.
fucking terrible. Like,
I've only been late twice.
Yeah.
Right. And 2 I can remember because they were very traumatic. Right. The first one was I had to go out to the Hamptons. Right. And I gave myself, I don't know,
4-hour drive right there.
I thought I gave myself 2.5, 3 hours, right? It was not enough. I was 2 hours late because there was what do you call it?
Holy
Island
shit.
traffic on the
Oh.
weekend, right? What the fuck is going on? Like that was insane. But anyway, they were really
Holy
understanding.
shit.
Who would
2 hours.
die?
They were really understanding. It was all good. And I think this was when I was still doing like full day coverage or
I
whatever.
remember this.
So anyway, this is the pride that like I need a sandwich now. That one.
Oh.
Yeah.
We were like middle of
things I
can't remember.
middle of
Angry.
purchase session.
She's like, I need a sandwich now, right?
Oh my God.
I was like, okay, whatever. All right. So anyway, that was the first, but she was really cool, right? And the other one was, it was like a July third wedding or something
You
like
had a
that.
flat tire one of those weddings. We had a flat tire once on the way to the wedding.
I don't recall
Oh,
that
that
one.
sucks.
But there was one where I was like, oh, we have a free weekend. This is cool. Let's go to the beach.
Oh, we talk about this all the time.
Yeah. Hey, let's go pack up
jeez.
the kids. We're going to go to the beach, right? We're packing up and everything. And then I get a phone call. It's the best man. Hey,
Where are you
where
guys?
you at?
Oh my god.
I was
I'm
like,
sorry, what?
It's
what?
like, where are you guys? What time are you guys coming? We're like, what?
What?
There's a wedding?
This is pre-Tave, by the way. This is before I got a CRM.
This is, just.
Because back then I just used, what do you call
Excel?
it? Just Outlook. And it was very easy to delete. Just delete, it's gone.
Once you click
right?
on it, it just gets deleted. Yep.
Right? And they were not on my calendar. I was like, holy shit. Now that I have a CRM, and now of course I have Abby, that doesn't happen anymore, right? But it was so easy to delete. I was like, oh shit. Thankfully, the prep was in Summit, so that's like 15, 20 minutes away from here, right? So I was able to like pack up my shit. I see what I said.
You know,
Forget
we
the beach.
talk about
Pack
this.
your shit.
We talk about this all the time.
You don't
No,
remember?
I never
No,
told
no,
you
no.
this.
So I'm like upstairs or downstairs, and he's like, we have a wedding. Get dressed. I'm like, what?
Oh my
Thankfully,
gosh.
Was all
thankfully,
your shit charged?
what?
Was all your stuff charged?
Yeah, I was ready to go. My
Yeah,
bags
all
are
your
always
stuff's
packed.
always in the
I'm
bag.
like the
Not
fire
me.
department.
Yeah.
Not
Yours
me.
is a-
No,
Yeah.
my stuff's always like the fire. I don't know
Yeah.
about you, Steve. You tell me.
I'm always charged.
Yeah.
My
Because
stuff is
I
already
have,
stuff's
same,
ready
I
to
have the
grab
same
it.
story, but not a wedding. It was an engagement shoot
Yeah.
where
Yeah, I
the
can always grab my
couple
stuff and I'm
called.
ready to go. So you just
And
gotta
they
get
were
changed
like-
and go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, where are you?
yeah, it was
And
like an
then- and
engagement shoot, and they were like, "Hey, where are you?" And it was just as COVID happened, and the schedules were very chaotic of switching. You can't see
Yeah,
each
yeah,
other,
yeah,
and it was like, "Okay, I'm 30 minutes away." I ran out the house. Luckily, I had nothing going on that day, but it was just one of those.
Holy shit.
You never heard that story before?
No,
huh?
you should talk about
That's
this more.
crazy.
No, I don't.
We talk about this a lot. No.
Never heard this before.
And then we even had a meeting that was coming in, right? And when
Yes, there was a meeting coming in.
right
Then we
when
go to
we're
the beach.
leaving too. When we're about to run out, and she rings the bell.
Run her over.
Okay, we're about to head out the door with our bags and stuff, and the
Wait,
meeting's waiting
did
for
you
us.
have like a timeline review with this couple?
He did
Like a month- like a
that
week before.
Monday too.
So how did you?
I was like, how did you forget?
I don't know, guys.
That's Ben Lau brain for you.
I don't know, guys.
Ben Lau-
And I
Ben Lau-
trust
the
them
meeting was
with
waiting
my
on my
life.
porch while I was rushing out to get to this wedding. I was like, guys,
So we're like,
I'm so
guys,
sorry.
so
There's an
sorry.
emergency.
Yep. We have to go.
I have to reschedule, but I'm gonna make
Yep.
it up to you guys. So basically, 2 clients I have to make up for.
Yep.
So one of
Oh,
them,
I forgot there was a wedding.
no,
We just said emergency.
you had an emergency.
Sorry, we're
So,
not booking
Come,
this
come
guy.
up with something.
so one
It's an
client got a free
emergency.
book.
All the equipment is gone.
Cover
One
yourself
client
in grease.
So one client got a free
Flat
book, and
tire.
then the other client got some discounts or whatever. So I made it right
Yep.
for
Did they
everyone.
book you, the people that came?
Yep.
Yep. And
Wow.
I shot their
Yeah.
maternity and newborn too. So it was all good.
Yeah.
So I made more money off of them on the back
But
end.
thankfully, the video was LPS back that wedding,
And the hair
they
makeup
were,
I knew too. They were like,
Yep,
"Oh, Ben's
they all
good.
knew each other. Like they all knew us, so like they were like, "Let's wait." They'll come. Like
Don't worry about
they'll
Ben.
show
Ben's good
up.
for
Yep,
it, right?"
yep.
Which is true. I was good
So
for it.
how late were you?
So we
45
were
minutes,
there
45
like so.
Oh, that's not
thankfully,
bad.
bride and groom
That's
both
not
were at
bad.
the same house
Yeah.
getting ready. So
It's not
we
bad.
got like 20 minutes of prep at least.
Are
Yeah.
you lucky?
Yeah. So I was late 45 minutes. So
Well, like wedding party was like giving us dirty looks in the beginning. I'm like,
You know what's funny? We ran into them at dim sum.
yeah, you
a
told
couple
me.
months ago.
I completely forgot who these couple. This was Ben Lau
Oh.
couple too. And
They'll
then,
probably look at you. You remember that you had dinner here today,
I remember your
but you don't remember my
reservation.
wedding.
so funny.
So after that, that's when I got Tave to make sure that this shit doesn't happen again. But now that we have Abby, it definitely doesn't happen. ever again.
I've heard stories from other photographers on like Facebook groups, the local ones. There was one with this guy was playing ice hockey,
Mm-hmm.
and then he gets a phone call from the bride or groom. He had a wedding, and he was late already,
Oh shit!
and it wasn't on his calendar or anything. He had to.
What happened?
And he was sweating. He had to run home, change, get his gear, and go to the wedding.
At least we're home.
Yeah,
At least we were home and our
Yeah,
bags
no,
were
Yeah.
packed.
he was
He
playing.
went down the
my
beach by
gosh,
then.
Yeah. And imagine
He was
we were
playing
like
hockey.
at the
Kara
beach.
shows up in a bikini and Ben in a swimsuit.
Kids are in the car.
He showed up like he is right now.
Yeah, practically. I'm here.
Oh my gosh.
So, what are the best ways that someone like Ben can prepare an associate?
Training. It's all about training. As an associate shooter, you're responsible for showing your best light or Pearl Paper Studio or whatever company you're working for. So it's all about how your mentor, Ben, for me, will train you, teach you just the little things. It can style a shooting to just how to interact with a client. For me, that has grown miles over the years of seeing how just the little things that you can do, making sure the bride's hydrated on a wedding day. Just walk up with a drink, just shove it in her face, make sure she drinks, because she's going to remember, hey, oh, this guy was really nice to me because he forced me to drink. So, or
He's not just the guy taking the pictures,
No.
He's there serving.
well, Ben has shown us for over a very long time that we're just not photographers. Some people might just say, hey, I'm here to take photos. That's it. But for Pearl Paper Studio, at least, and for myself, I'm not just a photographer. One of my favorite reviews on Pearl Paper Studio's site is that Steve was the bridesmaid I never knew I needed. Meaning that I was there to help facilitate the day, get her dress, help steam her dress, get the flowers in order, dab the flowers off so they don't get wet spots on there.
We all do that.
Just small stuff that, as a photographer, if I'm not have my camera up shooting, I'm going to be doing little things to help the bride out throughout the day. Some places we're not at a venue that a bridal coordinator is out there to help out. So
God.
if we're in somebody's house, yeah, I'm going to walk around the house. I'm going to just do little things to help facilitate and help the day roll a little more smoother for my clients. And to me, in the long run, that will speak highly of you. Because I don't know the numbers anymore, but back in the day, like we were all referrals. Ben has not done any advertising for us. Maybe now since then, but we were all advertising referrals throughout the years. So our clients were ex-brides or ex-bridesmaids. We're seeing everybody wedding and family members. And they're like, oh, you were so nice to my mother last time, or so nice to my grandmother. You helped my grandmother do something. For that will speak highly of you and go more than just a paycheck.
They'll remember you for that.
We still
Exactly.
get referrals.
Yeah, no, I assume we do. We get referrals because I still see clients. My favorite thing is to do is take photos with previous clients at weddings, and yeah, I think my most is 3 clients at one wedding.
Do you ever not remember their names?
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Sometimes you recognize the face, so I have to like Google them.
I'm a face person, so I'll remember their face.
too,
I'll stare
me
at
too.
them, and I'll like, oh my god, how you guys doing? I'll spark that conversation all the way down to the name, and then I'll try to figure out how. Or then if I see them, and I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna quickly look through my phone. I'm like scrolling, I'm like weddings. Okay, here we go. That's so and so. So
There
it
was
happens.
a wedding that we did with Jonathan. Okay. And he did one of the, I guess, the groomsmen and wife's wedding. So like he said, he's talking to them. They're like so happy that they even asked me to take a photo with him, and I took a photo. He turns around, he goes, "Do you know their name?" I was like, "I don't fucking know who they are." Like, you did their wedding. Like, so he's asking Jen, it's like, "Can you check? Do you have a groomsman name?" Jen had to go to the questionnaire. Was like, "I think his name is this." He was like, "I can't remember his name."
Well, it gets to that point where I remember my first 100 maybe, but like after that, like it's kind of dicey.
It was so funny.
Exactly. I think I'm in the 300s, so I'm just like
Yeah.
anything
I tend to remember
pre-COVID.
people.
Me and Remote remember every crazy. Like he'll remember things that happened at weddings 5-10 years ago.
I have a good
like,
memory.
oh,
Yeah.
this happened at this so and so.
I remember those details.
Talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
We're
remember
about
names
details.
though. I remember
Names.
anniversaries, which is crazy. Like I remember
Crazy.
so and so got married today.
Oh my gosh.
8 years ago.
Oh, you're crazy.
Yeah, you know what was weird? We had a somebody who inquired, and we did their friend's wedding, and Jen was like, "Do you know that your wedding day is the same wedding day as
Your
whose wedding was shot?" I'm like, how the fuck do you know that? That was like 3 years ago, 4 years
No,
ago.
it was like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, that's a
yeah.
little nutty. Yeah, that's
Did
a
we
little
book
nutty.
them?
No. That was in our long streak of no's.
Oh yeah. That was,
Yeah. But I think the people who are listening, the people probably most interested, probably there's 2 questions that they want to ask, right? So the first one is, if you're trying to get into associate shooting, right? You're trying to join up with another studio. You're trying to get more gigs as an associate photographer. What are some things that you can do as an associate shooter to keep the studios happy, to keep the clients happy? Like, what are some things that you can do in your work, in your workflow, in your process to get more of that associate work?
It's all about learning, seeing if it grooves with your style and all that stuff. We have to make sure that you are learning from us as much as we are learning from you. I want to make sure that I am doing it the best I can to facilitate and make sure we are matching our compatico in a way. Our styles are the same. which I've always said, Ben's style, I cannot do my best to capture it so closely as much as I try to. Ben is a 1 in a million. And
stop it.
his style, hey. So
This is a little
Ben was
special.
my wedding photographer. I'll admit I chose him to shoot my wedding. Thank you so much for that back in 2016. And his style really meant something to me. And over the years, it's changed when he went to Mexico and learned a little something
Got a little,
from somebody.
little funky along the way.
It went a little funky over
Got
the
a
years,
few
but
overlays and some cats along the way.
but overall,
No, the cats are still there. The cats are timeless.
I saw a cat recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, for being an associate shooter, we try to emulate representing his brand as much as we can, but at the same time, we are all a little different. We all put our own little tweak at something. Like my colleague MJ, she's a little more of a moodier shooter with more direct light and more portrait style, whereas I'm very safe. I like to get my clients all backlit, keep their posing very generic, very soft, simple. Nothing too crazy. I'll break out a Ben joke here and there, which is very uncomfortable.
Is that joke about migrants?
I did have to, after years of training, I did have to remember I am white and I cannot use these Asian jokes
I
to
can't use
my
these racist jokes
ability.
that I can get away with.
Unfortunately, HR, we get a phone call, but no.
You know, for the longest time, Steve was our only white shooter. It
Yep.
was the hilarious.
For a long,
It was
long
like
time.
The only
Yeah.
white guy.
He was
It
a token
happened.
white guy, but not anymore. We have a nice diverse cast now.
One other now.
Yeah, one
There's just
no,
one.
yeah.
Is it just one other?
It's just
The only
Miles.
white guy.
Well, Abby's white too.
Well, but she's not a shooter.
shooter.
Yeah. Duh.
Are you talking
Well,
about the team as a whole? We're talking associates here.
Yeah. Yeah, one other shooter. Miles is white.
combining.
Yeah, but in any case, like that's one of the things I want to like. That's one of the things that I try to instill in a lot of our associates. Like, you need to shoot for the brand. It needs to be consistent, because the thing is, I can't have 20 different styles of portfolio showing to the clients. Right? The clients need to know what they're buying into when they come across the brand. So for that reason, they have to shoot a certain style. But after you get all that stuff, have fun, because I understand that they're creatives too. So I want to make sure that they have that outlet, they have that permission to kind of just explore that creative license, that they can do whatever they want. But that being said, Steve, MJ, Miles, and Ed, there's a certain formula that they have to follow, so that way the clients don't get upset that they ended up with something they didn't sign up for, right? But outside of that, once they get those safe shots, go crazy. And Steve in particular, he's where his strengths lies with off-camera light work. None of our shooters actually shoot. No, yeah, they don't shoot off-camera light work, like night shots and things like that. They don't really do it. Steve does.
Well, they do, but
Steve loves his
yeah,
lights.
Steve.
It's so-
Steve
right
likes
now
it.
is the time to be like everyone wants that direct flash. You know how easy that is to just take a night shot. You don't have to
Mhm.
backlight anybody, set up gels, and bring a big softbox. You just bring your pop
One flash.
your direct flash and just go
That's
for the
Yeah, but Steve loves his artificial lights and stuff.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
like when he plays, that's what he does, and we want to give him permission. We want to give him space.
But you want to do it to an extent, because like we said, it's just you're matching the brand first, and that's what we have to keep consistent. Be artistic when we can. Twilight shots, all that fun night shots going on, but rarely do we get to experiment too much, but we try to keep it all on brand.
I mean, that sounds like anyone else. Like, it's not all the time that we could go for home runs.
So the moral of the story is, right? For those of you guys who are listening, you're trying to get more associate work, whichever brand that you're trying to hook up with, right? Study that brand. Understand their style, understand what they're trying to get and what they're trying to serve the clients, and
What it
then
represents.
and try to shoot that style.
Don't try to shoot for yourself, but yeah,
'Cause
serve the
some,
brand
Yeah, there's some freelancers that we brought on board over
Yep.
the years, and they're clearly shooting for a
for their
Fearless
own
award.
portfolio.
They're shooting
Yep.
for a Fearless award, and I was like, we don't shoot Fearless style.
Yep.
Not Pro Paper Studio anyway. We're not shooting our Fearless
Were
style.
they all Sony shooters?
Huh?
Were they all Sony
No,
shooters?
this one in particular was a Canon shooter.
Canon shooter. I know this is.
By the
I know
way-
who you are.
Were they
all
like
Nikon here, by the way.
were they like on the floor shooting up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Some silhouette, some lit.
That shot to me, like that shot with the groomsmen, it looks like they're about to get peed on. Every time I see that shot, I'm just like, why do you want to be on the floor shooting up?
listen, just keep the clients happy. Your award stuff, if we had time, then do it. But
I never shoot for awards, even now. Like that's just not my purpose.
Mhm.
You know, like what you're saying, like even as an associate or if you're running your own business, you're shooting for your client.
Mhm.
You know, and that's if someone is trying to second shoot and associate and trying to do that, like
shoot for
you're in the wrong.
awards
Yeah,
or shoot for a portfolio.
you're doing it all wrong. You're doing it
Yeah.
all wrong.
But I will say though, Steve's been published. He's won awards.
Yep.
He got some Wedding Wire awards. Those are yours, by the way. You know those Wedding Wire awards. It's all you.
They're all
man.
me. Thanks.
You and MJ and
I
Miles
think
and
New Jersey Bride or not.
The knot.
the Nod.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we have a
it's been
couple.
published. So
Been
I
a
remember
while,
when
but-
it's the first time he got published. You couldn't find a copy of that magazine in all of
Barnes
northern
and
New
Noble.
Jersey because him and his wife and his mother-in-law they went to all of the Barnes
And
and
the-
Nobles.
and the-
That
And
issue
then
ended up being on the
Margie-
last page. It was, and that's the wedding over there, actually on the wall. That one middle one.
Yes, yes,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
They were
he
probably
got
going
published.
through like you told me you were in this. Like, keep going.
I'm in the last page in that little corner at the bottom. No. He got a full half. No, he got a full
It
page.
was a full
Oh,
page.
nice.
It was a full page.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Bride with the denim jacket,
Yeah.
last name
Yeah.
on. Really? Good
I was
shot.
so proud
Nothing
of him, man.
crazy. It was not a crazy shot. Just shade lit and jacket on the back, looking over her shoulder with the name on the back.
It was
But
really cute.
That's cool.
It's very random, like the things that they publish, because we got put in the knot too. But like for like
Oh, a winter.
a very like blah wedding, and I'm like, how did it like?
Oh, yeah.
Why did you pick this out of like?
Because it was winter.
And it was still.
Well,
I'm
you
just
give them the whole
like,
gallery, and then the editors
pick what-
decide
yeah.
what goes in.
no, just like the fact that they picked that wedding in the first place, because I just saw it on Instagram, I think, and then they just took it.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
reached
this is
out, yeah.
weird. Like, okay, sure, love it. Of course, I promoted the heck out of it, but it's just very random, the thought process of what they pick and what they don't pick. But I want to go back to what you said earlier, which I think is really helpful about why you chose PPS, which was a lot of about being very client focused, treating people well. When there's so many associate companies, like you mentioned, that it's more about the money and just getting certain people to just hop on board, get a random Joe Schmo to shoot the wedding
The day before.
the day before and
The week
doesn't
of.
care about the wedding,
Yeah,
is not
no.
prepared.
It's very important to find stuff that morally is in line with you. And Ben, over the years, like he does background checks on some of his clients to make sure they,
Not all of them.
not all of them, but some, to make sure we will commingle nicely.
The
We-
red flag.
Yeah, you don't want somebody that
Ben,
doesn't.
the red flag.
What red flag? I'm colorblind. Sorry.
Exactly.
Maybe he does more background checks for you, but for
Exactly.
himself, not so much.
Because another bad story was I was shooting as a second shooter for a friend's company one time, and I just walk in and like just a Jersey type of wedding, just glitz and glams, all that stuff, and there was just a 3-year-old kid sitting on his iPad next to a pound of Coke, and I was
Was
like,
it a BPS wedding, right?
no.
Oh, okay.
It was not affiliated with us.
Oh my
He just
god.
said it was somebody else.
It was another friend of mine. And it was just I was out of the room within minutes. I
Yeah.
told the lead that day,
Yeah.
I will meet him down in the lobby and I will do anything you want outside the room.
Yeah.
So long story short, I found out that groom passed away on his honeymoon. He OD'd.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh,
not the
gee.
best
Wow.
thing to hear. They rushed me to get my photos to them ASAP because they needed some stuff for the
my
funeral.
God. I never knew this story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we never heard
that
this.
was
Wow.
more stuff later, but
That was
but
juicy.
it's one of
Yeah.
those
We
things
don't need
where
tea.
We
A
need
segment
a
today.
whole episode off of this.
Oh my God.
yeah, but so for
That's
working for
unfortunate.
Pearl Paper Studio, I've never felt more comfortable in my life. Knowing my clients represent me as much as I represent them, and making sure that the morals and all the at the end of the day are just synced and lined up and compatico.
But also as like when you're shooting from someone that you're just filling in for, you're not gonna say anything either. Like you have, it's really hard to just speak up and be like, hey, I'm not comfortable with this. When it's part of PPS, you can actually say, hey, I think we should not do this or do this.
Yeah.
Like you have more authority and they trust you. If you say something, they'll probably look at you wrong for
Yeah.
not wanting
Like,
to
I'll
shoot.
find someone else to
Yeah.
shoot.
Which we've had second shooters in Pearl Paper Studio step up, and one time was I don't feel comfortable being here. It was just as COVID happened and
Yep.
the room,
Yep.
it was. Oh, we're supposed to be an outdoor location. Well, just because you rip 2 walls off your place and put slider doors and call you a outdoor
Yeah.
location, it just doesn't line up. So that second shooter felt very uncomfortable the whole time, and I had her step to the side while I worked the whole event, and that was one of my first weddings.
For the record,
Back.
we didn't compel her to work. We said, listen, if you're not comfortable, you can shoot outside, or let Steve take over. We're good either way.
Well, this wedding was supposed to be outside, and then the venue offered them a different.
Well, they found the loophole.
They found a loophole.
They offered them
Those two walls are
bigger,
open,
so they
you're good.
offered them their other venue, which was bigger, and like the walls, like doors could open. What do I do? How do I find like a shooter in like 2-3 days?
And it was a winter wedding too.
It was a winter.
Yeah, winter.
Just
late fall.
Late
This
fall
was a
because
colder
things opened up at the end
day.
of
Can't go outside.
And then the groom
September.
calls us like a day or 2 days. They're like, "Oh, our wedding is actually inside now, but it's at a bigger space, and they're gonna open up a wall." And
It was weird
Yeah,
times
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then the second shooter got pissed at us.
second shooter got pissed at us because the person thought we like did it on
Bamboozled her.
purpose, like bamboozled her into
remember
shooting
this.
an indoor wedding, which like this was like last minute for us too. Like I was like caught like the mom's like, oh, mom or groom called me. They're like, oh, by the way, we switched venues because like they're gonna give us it for free. We'll take it, bigger space. So yep. So
Yeah,
she was
but-
like very uncomfortable. Yep.
Anyway, that was a weird time, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But
But things like that happen on wedding days where there's the unforeseenables coming, and
So
as an
much.
associate brand, you have
And as a leader.
as a leader,
Yep.
yes, you need to know your limits and what is comfortable for you. But
Yep.
it-
And also to make that call for
Exactly.
yourself and for your second shooter too. Yep. Yep.
but we can see a lot of latitude to make to call
And
the
then,
shots on the day
we're
of.
not gonna if Steve also was uncomfortable shooting that wedding, we're not gonna like force him to like you need to stay like shoot it. Like worst comes to worst, like me and Ben or one of us have to go cover for that wedding. You know what
which
I
I
mean?
would never
That's what it is.
leave them in that predicament because they have their own things usually going on when I'm working my
And we
wedding.
appreciate
So
it, but we
But-
would
Yeah,
provide
but
coverage if
if
needed.
you were
be.
uncomfortable or any of our shooters,
Yeah, you have no choice.
Exactly.
yeah, we'll have to go.
Yeah.
We'll have to go, Steve.
Sure, I think we got some questions that came in through social media, right?
They were all about you.
I think our buddy Fernando wrote
What
in.
is it like working with a friend like Ben?
I do have a
dying.
question. Do you get a lot of like people in the industry that you meet and they're like, how come you don't shoot for yourself?
Oh, every time, everybody, even not in the industry, people are like, "Why don't you just do it for yourself? You'll make more money. You get all the cash at the end of the day." And it's just not like that. I know my place. I handle just the photography and dealing with the clients on the day of or the engagement shoot, whereas they handle the negotiations, the contracts. Abby handles the admin work, and then we have our post-production team at the end of the day doing their job. So
Yeah.
if for the people that don't understand, if you want to do all that work yourself, that is totally fine, 100%. But then you're not getting that excess time without having that family time. Your devotion is 100%. As much as I love what I do, I don't want to just be surrounded by that at all times. With my real estate company, I was handling practically the negotiation, the contracts, the photo shoots, the editing, and the delivering. And I was finding that I was getting home at 5 o'clock at night and editing be done editing by 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, where's my life with my kids?
Yeah.
Where's any downtime? And my wife, after years, I actually just stopped editing this past spring because I had to trust our editors that we send out the photos to match my style a little better. But it's very difficult because I associate shoot for Pro Paper, but Ben has since day one taught me that our editors, that's their focus. Your focus is taking photos, making the beautiful images that you are going to capture, dealing with the clients on that personal level on the day of. So it allows me to just focus on my task at hand.
Yeah. I get it. 'Cause that's what I do.
Yeah.
You're the associate shooter for JR Photo.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Just imagine if you had to do all that and then you show up to the wedding day dream.
And we used to see it with Ben and Karis too when they were Ben Lau Photography.
Yeah.
It was Karis was handling majority of the paperwork, admin, billing, all that stuff, and Ben was the negotiator. He was that charming voice that was bringing you in and seducing you.
Charming voice, seducing you. Boy.
Trust me, I've been listening to this
What are these
podcast a
words,
little too long.
Number one thing.
So on
he
top,
seduced her.
but on top of what Ben does,
Thank you for letting me make you pregnant twice.
Those legs.
That's why he loves to show them.
I'm a leg girl.
You started, Steve.
I have Ben in my ear pretty much Monday through Friday and sometimes weekends.
Because Ben also does review videos.
Monday
for
through
PPS,
Friday,
yep.
we have little critique videos that he sends out at 8 in the morning, and we.
Well, I don't do that. Aaron does that.
Aaron does it, but you record
It's
it.
your
yeah,
voice. It's
yeah.
your voice.
It's your
yeah.
voice. It's who's seducing me. You're
You're the one reviewing the work and critiquing
Aaron's
it.
just clipping it together.
Yeah,
Thank you
it's
so much,
editing it,
Aaron, for what
yeah.
you do as well.
You do this for every single wedding.
Every
Yeah.
single engagement
Engagement
yeah.
and weddings.
So
Damn.
it's a little training that Ben offers that he doesn't. We used to do it video chat back and forth, but
One-on-one.
then
Yeah,
it
we used to do one-on-one.
was very difficult to line up our times, and he had to do it with me, MJ, Ed. Like it just not enough time in the day for all this, and so Ben started doing these little videos to create us learning what we did wrong, what we did good, what we can enhance ourselves at, and he also shows us his work. He does a Ben Lau wedding and goes through that step by step, frame by frame. Oh, look at this shot now. Look how I turned the bride a little bit, dropped her shoulder, opened up her stance, and how it changed an image 100%. So little
How
things
long are
like
these
that.
videos?
All the videos.
How long are they?
Oh,
Not long.
Like 5-10 minutes.
no,
15, 20.
Is it longer?
20.
Okay.
15, 20.
Karis is Ben.
I
Have-
don't
I
watch
don't
it.
expect anything less than 20 minutes.
15, 20.
Have you
15, 20.
noticed that you see more like cheese cubes in his videos? and
No, we stay away from the cheese, the breads, all that
Oh
stuff.
no! So I tell them, stay away from the cheese, the carbs,
meats.
the meats, and the gravies.
The uglies.
Nothing
yep.
without color.
Yeah.
You need to have color when you're
Photograph
photographing.
only pretty ones,
Only
yep.
anything that contrasty colors and stuff. You photograph that. Yeah, but the
Yep.
cheese, the breads, the meats,
The
you
ice
don't need to
sculptures.
photograph that. Unless it's a prosciutto tree. That's interesting. We'll photograph
Oh, we
that.
just had that one recently.
Yeah.
my
No, but
God.
I it's important for me to not because when they come on board, it's more than just the paycheck, right? They're looking to grow as photographers, and you know, I'm humbled by the fact that they look up to me. All right, so I want to provide more than just a paycheck to them. So I go over their images, and you know, I never want to come from a position where I'm a better photographer than you. You know, so that's why I review a lot of my own work too, and I show my creative process. I'm making mistakes too. I never want people to think that, you know, all the pictures come out of my camera looking perfect. I go through my process too. I'm sure you guys do as well. You know what I mean?
when I try to give feedback, I get cursed out.
I don't curse at you.
I get nasty
First of
faces.
all,
From the J.
I don't
I thought the
curse you
shame was
out.
silent. And,
I don't curse you out.
Just saying.
I don't
Just
curse you
saying.
out.
I just want to say that my feedback is not taken very well.
Maybe you should start making videos and just put it out.
But and we say this all the time, I am not a photographer. I mean, I am because that's my job, but I'm a business person. That's my passion. So, like, if you're gonna sit me down to see my work, 95% of the time, I'm just gonna like not care. Sorry, that's just who I
And
am.
that's the problem. That's what I always say. That's the problem, that you
However,
don't care.
he does so well. Just like I don't want him coming to me and telling me about what I put on social media or how I'm emailing people.
you guys have your lane.
we stay in our
Yeah.
lanes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Am I doing a shitty job? Absolutely not.
No,
It'll be very minor. He's a perfectionist, as you guys
We're
know.
talking about improvement here.
So he'll say,
How can we improve here?
you cut off a hand. I'm like, they're not going to notice I cut off a hand. Like, no one's noticed I cut off
Oh,
a
yeah.
hand. It's like those little things.
Ben
Do you think
does
I'm
it all
hard
the
on you
time.
guys? Do you think I'm hard on you guys?
Do I want to stay employed? No. It's not being hard. I grew up. I had a graphic design background, so I have learned to be critiqued. Be critiqued since high school. That was how I started getting into photography. Is back in high school, and so ever since your teacher's telling you, well, maybe you need to change your angles, your lighting, your positioning, your all this stuff, it makes sense to me. It took a little while for me to break my shell and get a little more relaxed about it and not take it so personally. But for the most part, Ben comes from a great place. He wants to do it to help us out in the long run, to help him out. So we all want to make sure that it works for everybody.
There's certain scenarios though, like you would have to have been there to
100%,
understand,
yes.
understand
Yeah.
why.
That's the feedback that I get.
Right.
Hey, you weren't there. You don't know what I
Yeah.
was dealing with.
Yeah, like sometimes that's valid. Like sometimes, like, and also timing. You don't know the timing.
Right.
Yeah.
So there is a certain
Yeah.
amount of that feedback that you have to just say, like, all right, cool. I understand what you're saying. But at the same time, these factors led me to this place, right?
Mhm.
Right. I made these decisions because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time, I'll double. I'll think a little bit more, and I'll go that route. But
Mhm.
doesn't happen all the time.
100%.
Yeah.
Because he has said some stuff in videos that have really just to the chest. And I want to be a keyboard warrior and be like, well, Ben, this is the lighting or this is the conditions. But at the end of the day, I know he's just coming from a place of an outside perspective, but
Yep.
he knows
He wasn't
that
there yet.
what will
Yeah.
help. And over the past, 3 months, we've been second shooting for each other a lot lately. So he has got to be in my backseat and I got to be in his to really see what he's doing differently and retrain to be in person, not just over these computers. And
Now, is he a good backseat driver?
I don't know. Karis
Karis
is
has
not.
told us he is not a good backseat driver.
So this past weekend,
He's quiet.
this past Friday, I really had to grind my teeth and I had to step back and
Was it
He is
Rock Island?
not
Yeah,
a
it was
good
Rock- yeah, it was
backseat
out there,
driver.
I only posed him a handful of times. I posed him a handful of times.
Even at the bridal show I was at.
Oh,
So-
that's
so-
why
so
I was like,
here-
why was he there?
Why are you
Uh-huh.
here?
Why is he there?
So
Yeah.
here's the thing. You said that an associate or a second shooter should come from a place of service, right?
Mhm.
I worked for people that did not want me to interfere during the portrait session, right? And I understood that. You just can't help yourself.
Yeah.
You can't help yourself.
I take
When I
it.
see something that's a little off, then we gotta fix
Yeah.
it a little
It's
bit.
not your place. It's not your place.
See, he's great at it because number one, he's a teacher at heart. So that's what he's doing. He's trying to teach me and also correct it as on the fly. But at the same time, it was hurting me because it was diminishing my value as the lead photographer that day.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
now
that's
it-
why
it-
nobody
I gotta
wants
keep that in check.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It brought
That's
my
what I'm
bride and
telling
the groom to they actually kind of soar. Like I was like rolled my eyes one time when Ben spoke up in the background. Well, I'm trying to direct them. And luckily we had
You
a
gotta
great
be like, shut it, Ben.
and we had a great video team there that we currently work with a lot. So it was one of those things where I was just like, all right, I'm going to let him do his thing for a second, but then I'm going to take my control back. And we learned to bounce things off each other a lot. So
Cut it out.
Yeah. I learned that early on. I worked with people, like I said, they were very strict about it.
Yeah,
and,
most people will
and
be.
so every time I second shot for somebody, I never.
Right.
And then sometimes they would look at me like, "Don't you want to do something?" I'm like,
No.
"Of course, like
Yeah.
of course, I would love to." But am I allowed to? Right? Because some people don't want
Yeah.
you. I worked with plenty of people that there was the portrait session is my time.
Yeah.
You just get different angles.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So that I always approach everything like that. And
Yeah.
and if you want me to try some stuff,
Right,
because
right.
I know it happens to me. I always get my brain gets foggy. I can't think of anything else
Right,
to do.
right.
Yes.
Yep.
That's the time to jump in and say, hey, I
You
got
want
an idea. Or maybe if you don't, pretend you have an idea.
100%.
And it helps me reset, right? But there's photographers that they don't care. Like if they're having a brain fart, they don't want you to interfere at all.
Yeah.
And I always like, all right, cool.
I
I'll just watch you fail.
God, honest truth, I do try to bite my tongue as best as I can.
No, he's really good at it. We've had some freelance second shooters come on and help us out a couple times, and I have had to like, no, this is not what we're doing because they will go in an angle that Pro Paper is not. That's not how we shoot.
Sure, yeah.
We don't shoot with a lot of off-camera flash
yep,
and nice outside day. So there have been those couple guys that I'm like, no,
Bring a
please.
48-inch octa. Yo, I
Yeah.
got this octa right here. Put that shit away.
So, but for the most part, no, he is very respectful at what his little things
You
are.
don't have to be
Suggestions.
too nice, Steve.
I want to keep my job.
You're still employed.
This is a
Steve.
safe space.
There you go. Yeah.
Listen,
It's a hot space, but it's a safe space.
I don't want to diminish his authority
One-
because the clients, they trust him, you know? So,
One other thing that used to and it pissed me off, but it would also like diminish my role was like when a lead will say, "Yeah, do what you want," right? And then you take them and you start doing it, and then they just come in and fucking
take over.
Yeah, that used to like, I'm done. Like this is your show. Like don't ask me to do anything because you're just coming in and override what I'm trying to do.
Mhm.
That happens to me. That happened to me a lot of times, and I would just, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So that's another thing like that you have to deal with as a second shooter. Like you just have to know when to jump in and when to not, or just wait. Like, all right, let's do your thing, and be like, hey, I have
Exactly.
this idea. Let me take them and do this.
Because you might see an angle that the lead photographer, he's focused on getting that safe shot or that creative shot from a certain angle, but for the most part. I've had some great people come and second shoot for us, associate wise. Shout out to Moses, good friend of the podcast.
Always makes it on an
And-
episode.
Always.
Somehow he's still
Can't
managed.
forget you, Moses.
God damn it.
But he shot for me before he was Moses Cruz Photography.
Right, yeah,
So he
yeah.
was coming on board, helping us out, and I was giving him all the freedom in the world because I could tell he was shooting our style, he was shooting our ways,
And you need a portfolio.
and he needed a portfolio. It just hurt when some of his photos would make the post,
blog.
and I'm like, that was not the lead photographer's photo. That's Moses's, but it won't say that on there. But
that asshole does it again.
But yeah, for the most part, it's one of those things where, as a lead photographer, you have that second shooter that you want to give that time. And the other day, when Ben was just critiquing me a little bit in the background, I was just like, all right, you get 5 minutes with them in a couple minutes. But right now, let me just get and it was at Rock Island. So I know this place like the back of my hand. I was there almost every day for the winter. Whereas what was it, second time this year?
I go there 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you might see something I don't, which I respect more than you know, but at the same time, it was just
I
like,
remember I was like, hey, you want to scoot him over? It's like, no, I'm good here. I was like, okay, all right, then whatever.
Do you ever get concerned because you're the one doing the sales calls, right?
Correct.
And you're telling them you're getting my associate, but then you show up.
It's a bonus, I think.
it's very tricky because I feel the same way. It's just like,
that's what you said before.
we've had,
kind of like
I forget what wedding was. I think it was this year where Ben, it's not that you weren't available, but the price point didn't add up between Ben Lam Photography
Yes,
paper.
this is Corona.
And
Corona one. I remember
it was the clients were like, okay, went with me. We had a fantastic dynamic. We worked well together. But then on the wedding day, Ben showed up as second. And I don't know what went through their brain, but as the lead of another company that they couldn't afford is now your second, what goes through your
I
mind?
thought about that
yeah,
too.
the optics are a little off.
Yeah, I
I
should
feel
not
like
come to that one, but it is what it is.
What-
But you took lead for that one for the most part.
I would hope so. It was the
No,
lead,
no,
but
but
They're
I
probably
directed
happy.
very
They're
little.
probably flattered.
No, you were kind of that wedding. You were more in the background. You
Yeah, they're probably
you were
happy.
not as much. You stuck with the guys. You did your thing. Anything with the bride. There was a couple times where you saw an angle, or you were at a different angle than I
Yeah, I
was
was
for
at
that
the bird's eye
wedding.
view from
You
the
had the
balcony.
bird's eye where
Yeah, yeah.
they had a big shot list, and they were like, "Oh, we want this, this, this." So I was going off the shot list.
everywhere for photos.
What happened to me one time, a little similar. During COVID, we had an inquiry and we were booked. So I sent it to Moses. He booked it, and all the postponements. He needed a second.
You showed up.
I had no idea. So this bride, I see a bridesmaid. She was a referral from a wedding that we did.
Yeah.
I see the bridesmaid, and it's my client. I'm like, what the fuck? So I give her a hug, and then that's when it started clicking. And this bride was so happy that me and Moses were shooting her wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Like when he blogged it, she was tagging me, she was tagging Moses. And I was like, she was like, I got the 2 best photographers in the world.
Yeah.
I untagged myself, you know. I was like, this is Moses' wedding.
Whose
Like,
tag came first, though?
she tagged both of us, like on her post.
Right.
And I was like, oh shit, like let me untag
yeah.
myself. But you know, like in that situation, like I had no idea I was shooting a wedding. Like I just showed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
It happens.
But
Yeah.
speaking of which, right? You said your first gig you made with us, it was like $240, something like that, right? About 240, 250 bucks. You can get 4 Moses Cruises for that.
Oh,
Fantastic.
$60.
$60 divided by
Oh,
times
40. 4, yeah,
Yeah.
4.
So yeah, like you should
I
feel,
should feel accomplished.
You should feel accomplished. you made more in the first wedding.
Make you feel that much better.
Than Moses Cruz made at his. You know, you made 4 times as much.
Who was the person
Way
that
to
they just kept going, the little graph?
Brielle?
Biel was $7,000. She was the highest,
Oh,
6 or
man.
$7,000.
That graph, just a bunch of heads.
I think that was the highest we ever saw.
Yeah.
That was the highest.
I do have the questions from Fernando.
You know Fernando?
Of course. So I actually knew Fernando before any of this.
Oh.
He
Everybody
rented a space in
knows.
Clifton.
Yeah.
He's a busybody.
No, he rented a space for his Blank Noir space. And one of my best friends, Tim Cooter, for Authentic Photo, rented the same space. They shared. So when shooting with Authentic Photo, I would see Blank Noir at a lot of things because they were pretty much, they're the photographer, they're the DJ. That they were
They
matched up
referred each
to
other out.
exactly.
Yeah.
He wants to know, why are photographers notorious for not saying hi to other vendors?
I don't know because that is not me. The minute I walk into the venue, just like we said earlier, I am walking around being like, "Hi, I'm Steve. I'm the lead photographer for the day. Anything you need, you let me know." So that's one thing I can it's one of the things I learned from Ben over the years is you want to say hi to everybody, greet yourself, say hi to the mother, say hi to the grandmothers, anybody, any venue owners, if they're there, just say hi to everybody. It's I hate when I get that in reverse sometimes. I see a DJ and they're like,
I was going to say that.
their heads down. They're like, no, I'm getting my board ready. And I'm like, hey, how we doing? Like, just want to go over the timeline. Or like, we've been here working about what, say 5-6 hours prior to them showing up. I'm not saying they're not working, but I know they have to get things ready. But then it's just like, we want to get on the same page. So I always recommend for any of our shooters, just say hi. Say hi to the venue staff, say hi to the catering, the florist. Get out there, just make a name for yourself, because every time I see a makeup artist, I know I love seeing them. Just go up, say hi, and especially DJs.
Makes life easier.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here too. Sometimes when they're ready to say hi, it's our busiest and stressful time. We're setting up, we're getting ready for ceremony. We have to put our bags somewhere. It's bad timing usually when we're intersecting for the first time. So sometimes you have to give it time for that photographer, videographer to settle down, and then they'll walk over and say hello if they're welcoming.
If they do.
If they're welcoming, yeah. Some entertainment companies, like they're not very friendly. They don't.
Yeah.
His other question, what is your take on some photographers showing up like they just left an hours party in Williamsburg?
I don't know how to answer that because I don't know what that
I haven't
means.
seen it, right?
Steve always dresses up.
Okay, so if they show up dressed like Ben Lau today.
No, because yes, they are some photographers that will wear sneakers.
White
rarely
Uptowns.
will I'm not saying my photography crew, but Pearl Paper's clients, we will never show up looking like we just walked up, rolled out of bed, sneakers. Some of us, we try to impress and look like we're there to blend. I started wearing black a little more now. So black shirt, black pants. Used to blend in tie, 3-piece button down. I dressed a 9, and it was like I'm going to cocktail. Nobody knows I'm the photographer. But the people that show up with sneakers and maybe some baggy shorts. To be honest, I'm not one of a trendsetter or somebody as fashionable as Karis. But
I don't think none of us are.
Nope.
But
look at you today.
I would say some of these Gen Z photographers that are like killing it right now in the New York City, New Jersey area, they're showing up like they're going to Trader Joe's. And that's just the way that they are. I'm not gonna knock it. Like, it is what it is. I personally can't pull that off. So I'm gonna blend in with all black, and
I never try. I try to dress as professional as I can. And you want to show face and be representable of your company and your brand. And as much as this is Ben and Karis's baby, Pearl Paper Studio, I take it as I have been putting 10 years of my blood, sweat, and tears, 11 years actually, into it. And
it's your baby too.
I just started working trade shows with the past 2 years just to show more face and be upfront in the company. Just try to get us out there.
Yeah, every time Steve shows up to these trade shows, we get bookings.
Was that one time Ben showed up? We didn't get any.
Do you bring pastries for the people?
No, but I should. I don't know. Put that on the list in January.
Look at that. Right? Look at that face. Look at those chiseled features. You got to use that. You know?
They've gone away over the years.
Huh? Remember, we had drunk girls calling looking for Steve.
Oh my God! All right, you want to hear
after the wedding?
I think Melissa.
Was it me and Miles?
Yeah, Miles and Steve. Yep.
No. It was Steve and Benson.
Oh, Benson. That's right.
So around midnight, 1 o'clock, we get a phone call on the business line.
Business line.
Business line. We get a phone call. Who the hell's
drunk
calling?
Girls.
Hi.
Is there Steve there? Is Benson there?
You should have answered. They're fucking taken, right?
They're fucking married.
They're already married.
They have families.
That's amazing.
It was the funniest. It was the fun. I'll never forget this. Past midnight, we get a phone call.
You should have saved it.
Oh my God.
Does Melissa know this?
She will now. I don't hide anything from her, but she knows a lot of things.
Nothing happened.
We also talked about this all the time.
Only once did I try to send Miles home with a guest, so.
Well, Miles is single, so.
Exactly. It's good for him.
Miles has been propositioned at weddings. He's second shooting with me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he'll get
many times.
He'll get all the milfs, like show up, dance with him and stuff.
Is his last name long?
Oh my god.
But
No, he's yeah. He
Now Miles purposely goes out there.
yeah, he goes out there and
Yeah.
like
Oh,
you know
yeah.
these older ladies and stuff. They like they're like all up on him.
My god.
So like I was like, Miles, you can just when you're off the clock, then whatever, but not right now.
Oh my gosh.
It's so
Can't help
comfortable,
himself,
right? When the moms
We have
hit
such a
on
good
you.
looking crew, you know what I mean? So I mean, it's gonna happen, right? That's the
You're
other
gonna wind
criteria.
up one of those stories. The photographer slept with like the maid of honor at a wedding.
The criteria,
I've heard those. Those are not
Oh
good.
my god.
When they want
Stay
a full
away from
refund.
that.
Oh.
Or slept
my
with the
God.
bride, or
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Fatigue.
Speaking of someone told us we're having dinner with a DJ at Perona recently, and we were just just bored, just talking. He gave us a nice juicy story. He said that when he started in his career somewhere in Connecticut, he used to do a lot of like biker weddings, like at like a VFW, like full of bikes outside, tattooed guys. And he said like a big brawl breaks out, like huge brawl, and he doesn't know what's going on. He's just playing music, and the police come up to him and like, I was like, I had no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
And he said like shortly after, the bride comes up to him and goes, it's over, everything's over. And he's like, what happened? She was like, I caught the groom having sex with my maid of honor
At the wedding.
venue. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? I was like, this is amazing. Like, this must-
Oh, I thought a
this is-
photographer was involved in this.
No. It was a DJ. He told us this story that happened like maybe 15, 20 years ago.
I have
Oh
heard
my
stories
God.
where
Yeah.
photographers hooking up with people in the wedding and stuff. I've heard stories like that before.
shame.
That's
Shame,
crazy.
shame.
That's a whole nother level of service there. though. You should be proud.
Do you get tipped extra for that?
You should be proud.
Did she get a tip?
Oh, Lord.
Just a tip.
Oh, she got a hell of a tip.
Got the whole thing.
Bro. What's the weirdest thing you've seen Ben Lau do at a wedding?
Ooh,
Gosh,
good one.
if you know his prompts of how to get clients to feel very comfortable and asking a groom to hula hoop his bride, very strange.
How the fuck do you do that?
I guess it's just like
So
swirl.
you're hugging. It's a hugging
You're a
pose.
hugging pose, and,
And then he has
And
to
then
do
they
hula hoop.
hula hoop.
very awkward.
To get them comfortable, I got to get them uncomfortable, and that's how you get the natural laughs out of them.
Oh my!
So
So he's basically like
it's-
gyrating on her.
Exactly.
Oh
You're
my
making your
God,
clients
Ben
gyrate.
Lau.
But like when you have the two photographers, maybe a video team, the maitre d' for some reason standing by this one incident, it was kind of very weird. We were putting him in a bush and he's like gyrate her
Oh my
behind
God!
the screen.
That's not the weirdest. Sometimes I'll start playing the penis game.
Oh, yeah.
in front of the family and stuff.
It's all
Start
very,
screaming
Yeah,
and,
you-
and,
the
you
word
told
penis.
us
and he does the
Yeah.
chest rubbing thing too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wax on,
Yeah,
wax
on,
off.
wax off.
on the
You
groom.
guys, you ever seen Karate Kid? All right, wax on, wax off right now, and then little lower, and then a little lower, right?
Butt grabbing. Yeah.
Where did you come up
Ben
with
does
this
all
stuff?
of these.
Well, you
I'm
never heard
like-
of these prompts.
No, where did
Yeah.
These are not there.
they came from
But
your
when you
head?
see, but when you see the laughter in my portfolio and stuff, it comes from that stuff. So
I worked
my
with
God.
someone.
It's all that stuff.
I worked with someone years ago, and he was very dirty. Like,
but that was not dirty.
almost-
What I'm doing is not that dirty.
No, almost to the point where I looked and I was like, "What the fuck did you just say?" Like, and it was so he did get the laugh, but there was a level of,
Yeah, yeah,
discomfort
uncomfortable.
there between all of us. He basically told like it was the little spoon, like
Little spoon,
the
big spoon?
bride was behind, and then he tells her to reach over and he basically said, "Grab his dick."
I thought that was a female photographer.
No, it was a guy, and I was just like, "Holy shit!" And it was just a little. She did crack up, but it was like, I was like, "That's kind of weird."
You told me it was a
Secret.
female photographer, and now Mark is like, grab him by the balls.
No, that wasn't me. This was a guy, and then a different time, he was shouting out like genital parts, like to get them to
Ew.
laugh and whatever. That's his crowd, right? That's his crowd. That's his.
I did a shout out
It's a
penis,
special crowd.
but it's just the bride and groom. It's not that's not the
no,
parents
but
around.
he would say like the vulgar
Oh.
Oh,
names to these things, and I would just be like, okay, cool.
They gotta be careful. You don't know who's around, who's
Yeah.
gonna
Well,
file a
that's
complaint.
exactly what this person
You don't need
told
grandma
me.
in the background. You hear and
Yeah.
grab a
Yeah.
stick.
That
And,
this person told me you have to know who to do it with.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wouldn't do that with nobody.
Yeah.
well, exactly. You got to read the client. You know which ones can handle certain things, and
Yeah, you got to read the clients. I do the engagement session.
Grab his ass, that's whatever, or her ass, his whatever, or
Primarily-
his.
Even
Whatever.
It's
that,
usually
no,
her grabbing his ass, but
Yeah.
only
that's
vendor
fine.
clients. No, I'm not saying any of those.
That like whatever, or sometimes you see like put your arm around the shoulders and they grab the boobs. That happens all the time. Like, all right, whatever. But I'm not telling them to do that.
Yeah.
They take it upon themselves.
no,
But
usually I call it out. Hey, hands off the boobs, right? And then they'll start cracking up.
yeah, if you say stuff like that, but
Well, that, yeah.
you gotta be careful.
You're not telling them to grab the boob.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
that's weird.
yeah. I'm not that. weird.
Someone was I know what you're talking about. They made a post in one of the groups that they shot an engagement session and they were very outspoken and saying nasty things. And then after the engagement session, they wanted to cancel the contract because of it.
because of
and-
the vulgarity.
Right. And I told you I worked with that person before and she is pretty damn vulgar. I second shot for this person a
Uh-huh.
few times. In my opinion, I think it's risky.
Yeah.
Not what you're doing. What you're doing is obviously
you do
okay,
it to a
but
Still weird,
PG-13
but-
level.
still
Yeah.
weird.
Still weird.
It's a
but-
little weird,
Yeah,
but that's
I
why they
wouldn't do it,
bring me
but
on board.
But
for
it's
it.
passable.
you.
It's passable. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's passable.
I'm not super inappropriate. It's just fun.
Yeah, yeah.
To me, it's the style of photography lately has changed so much, and it's everybody always wants these organic, natural laughs. Well, try to tell somebody being organic in
I
that,
know.
and it's
Mhm.
Hey, I
very
need you to
difficult.
laugh.
Exactly, and you. As much as our jobs are just to take photos, we are now a comedian, a prompster. We have to get them to be very comfortable,
Yeah.
but yet give us these natural smiles.
Yeah.
Back to what you were saying, like, you know, with the trends that are going on today, like our style attracts a lot of like very laid back, shy couples. But they're sending us like they want to go do their engagement session in these intimate locations, and they're sending us all this inspo, and I'm just like, they fail to realize like there's only so much that we can do, right?
Right,
Like
right.
you need to
You too.
bring it too.
Mhm.
Like couples need to bring it in order to get these reactions out of them.
Chemistry.
Right. And then
Yeah.
a lot of times I walk out of these like sessions, sometimes I feel like I failed because the inspo that they sent me and what I got
Oh,
is
100%.
different, right? And Jenna would tell me, well, that's on them, right? That's on them.
Yeah.
Like I keep telling them, we need to figure out a way or maybe talk to someone that's they're really good at getting that out of people. Because I feel these sessions I feel like a failure after them.
No, the problem is he gets hung up on the inspo that they send over, and then everyone loves their photos after. So I tell him
Yeah.
it's they don't want
It's
the
just the
exact
inspo
thing that
and-
they're sending you.
Right.
It's inspiration. This is what the vibe they're going for. No, they're not going to get the same face reaction poses as what they're sending us, but
And then
it
I
might
think
be more about the location or the editing, but they always love the photos, so it's not that.
and when they're sending these, I don't think they really know what they want.
yeah,
They just like what they,
They just
see.
like
pretty.
what they
Yep.
see.
Oh, that's
Mhm.
pretty.
Do
That's
you, do you know what happens when we
Mhm.
send Steve an inspo board, Pinterest boards, and shot lists? You know
deletes
what-
it.
Huh?
Deletes
No.
it.
Huh? He's slowly dying
Oh,
inside.
yeah.
You know?
It eats me up.
Oh.
Just because it's an expectation, like you just said. It's just
It
it's
feels
what
like
they
it,
want,
yeah.
and it's just to get to that standard. Sometimes the couples don't know. Oh, that is off-camera flash. That's a style that
Right,
we don't
right,
shoot.
yep.
It's posing of them running through a field at this time of day. Well, guess what? You're doing something at this time of
Yeah.
day. It's not the timelines don't match up, or
Steve got a family photo shot list, 35 long, 35 to 40 items long for cocktail. Remember that this past weekend?
this past weekend that was not big.
Rock Island.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
that's
no,
I
and,
feel like
of course,
yeah.
half the family went inside and
It
didn't listen to
happens,
stay
yeah.
behind.
Yeah.
So
We've
no,
had those.
it's Chinese weddings, Indian weddings. Those are where I'm like
Yeah.
that. When there's a shot list of that, that's when it's just like
An hour
a
long.
back sweat
Yeah.
and just stay in the middle of the aisle. But everybody likes to come up the middle of the aisle.
Yeah.
How do we feel about businesses
Asian lives matter.
putting their political views
Uh,
out there?
in
We
business,
don't.
with business, yeah, we don't.
What's happening now is that what we're seeing online is that clients are firing their vendors
Yeah, they're
based
canceling
on
their
their
vendors.
political views or
Mhm.
whatever. So that's okay, whatever, right? But this, as a vendor, you shouldn't get upset if that happens to you because
Because you put yourself out there like
yeah,
that.
you're putting it out there,
Exactly.
and I think at least I know some people I know, they don't care. They don't care if they
Right.
lose
Yep. They don't.
work. This is their views. This is what
Mhm.
they believe in.
Mhm.
And if you're not aligned with that, they don't want to work with you anyway. So
That's the cost. That's the cost. That's all it is. That's the cost of admission. That's all it is.
Mhm.
And they're going to have those followers that are going to come and
Yeah.
follow them and promote that. Oh, you
Yeah.
spoke up. Yeah, good for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Or,
Mhm.
oh, this is like, we are a big advocates of the LGBTQ plus Expo. We go there every year. We support them, everything they do. So that is not my mentality of what we promote, but we are
Just being present there.
being present, and we support everybody.
We're ally.
We don't have a side. We just, if you want a side, then that's to your own. You're going to cut your workflow in half in my mind, but
Mhm.
for the most part,
We
We
serve
s-
everyone.
we serve everybody.
We've never turned away
We
work.
love everybody.
We've never
Yep.
turned away
Like
work
you're a
because of
wedding
political
photographer,
beliefs.
you know what I mean? You capture moment of love. How do you
Discriminate
Huh.
against.
how do
Mhm.
you say no? And,
well, these are all vendors. Like it's not just photography
right.
that is happening to. It's just people in the wedding industry that are just like
But yeah,
putting
we
their
don't,
political.
we're not very outspoken as far as our political beliefs, but I think our actions speak louder than words. The fact that we show up to these expos, the fact that we have LGBTQ representation in a lot of things that we host, right? Or even on this podcast, or whatever it is. I think our actions speak louder than just us spouting some nonsense on social media. What
Mhm.
we actually do when the cameras are off and when we're offline, I think that's more powerful.
Mhm. I think the question should be reversed as well. Like if you find out, let's say you're left leaning and you find out your client has a Trump flag on their house, like,
Yeah.
are you gonna not shoot the wedding?
Right.
Like, so
I've shot so many MAGA
we
weddings.
should-
like
Yeah,
so the
we-
roles reversed. Like at that point, then what do you do? Like,
Right.
like you can't
Yeah.
just be so exclusive in that sense.
you
I'm not gonna judge somebody based on their political
Political
views.
views, yeah.
But
Each their
if
own.
they disrespect me, and,
Mhm.
Right.
you know,
Exactly.
they say
I-
something that's disrespectful to me, that's different, But the money's still green, right?
Mhm.
Of course.
The only time I ever had an issue was not wedding related, but real estate related. And I was photographing a house, and the homeowner, it was just after Trump got elected, and he had an American flag upside down on his property. And I'm like, I can't physically photograph that morally, like just overall. And it was just like he was trying to make a political standpoint
Yeah,
without showing
yeah,
any
yeah.
politicalness. And I was just like, no, please just take your flag down for one photo.
Mhm.
Because the realtor's like, what is going on? I'm like, you don't see the upside down flag. Oh, I thought it just blew over. I'm like, no. They're showing signs of
Like this
distress.
person's trying to sell their house. Like
Yeah.
if you see that in a listing,
Mhm.
Exactly.
that's the same thing as
And
putting
it's-
your political.
that's
view
what
out
I'm
there,
saying.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a time and place for everything. As a business owner, there's a time and place for everything. Certainly, some of us have larger microphones than others, larger bullhorns, larger platforms than others.
Yep.
But I choose to promote my beliefs offline.
You love.
You know?
Love everybody.
Correct.
Actions speak louder than words. What
That's
else? What else you got? What a downer. Who brought that up?
I did. I'm sorry.
We're having such a good time with my cocktails.
There's so much. Yeah, they're like politics. Oh
Yeah.
no.
I don't even know if this is gonna
So,
make it.
one other
Politics.
thing I wanted to
Yeah.
talk about, since we haven't done a podcast in a while, but is
Bro's got a lot on his
no,
mind.
It's been a while.
Here
It's
he
been a while.
goes.
Hurry up, I
Like-
gotta pee and I'm dying.
Nah, like we went through like 8 consultations
Oh.
and we didn't book any. Right? I can't remember like in the past 10 years
Yeah.
that ever happened to us.
Right,
Right?
right.
Mhm.
So the more we talk to people, like everyone is like, seeing this type of like trend of like people dragging their feet to actually book, and they're meeting with like 10 other vendors at a time. I've never seen this. Like it's crazy.
10 other vendors. That's a
yeah,
lot.
Yep.
and like what we're noticing too is that they're telling us up front, yeah, we have 4 other people to meet with. I'm like, that doesn't happen. They're even telling us who they're meeting with.
Yeah.
I'm just like, all right, cool. This is different. But it's happening all across. It's not. It's.
Do you know what it is? Back in the day before Zoom, I mean, we were always meeting people over Skype and Zoom, right? But now it's the more prevalent choice for a lot of folks to do these meetings. Back in the day when you were meeting people in person, you might only have enough patience, time, and bandwidth to meet maybe 5 other
Mhm.
vendors for that category. Because remember, you have maybe nine categories of vendors you need to meet.
Mhm.
When you're planning your wedding, and photography is just one of them, right?
Mhm.
So you're potentially meeting with 45 vendors to plan your wedding. But now that you have the opportunity to meet them online, you can meet with more. You don't have to drive round trip. You don't have to.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier
And
to
then I
meet
think
with
there's
more venues.
just more vendors. Like Yep.
More hands in the pot.
Yep.
So many more
Oh my God.
photographers. It's
Like we
crazy.
can't even compete. Like, and it's not pricing. We thought it was pricing,
It's not pricing.
but we've, as as someone would, like, you want to know sometimes what was the deciding factor. So when we see trends like this, we'll ask like, hey, like, what was your final choice? Like, what caused you to lean that way? And nobody said price. So
Right.
it's more like it has been like style, or it has been like this person
Connected better.
worked at the venue more times than you did, which
I
we
hate
kind
that.
of use to our advantage too.
Yeah.
But it's been like everyone's like dragging their feet, like coming
Yeah.
back a month, 2 months later.
Yeah.
But sometimes when they say price, it's just a cop out. Sometimes maybe they
Yep.
just don't like
It's just
the
an
vibe.
excuse too. Yep.
The
Yep.
price is an easy out for them. So
Yeah.
even whatever answer they give you, it might be an easy out. It could just be the fact that they didn't vibe with you. It's like
But
well,
how
you guys-
how was the consult?
They were
with
all
them?
great.
They were
They're
all
all
great.
great, and
You
they
Yeah.
said
felt
we
Good.
vibe great. One of being like a
Interesting.
style issue. The other one that he mentioned was like, oh, the other photographers work there, works over 10 times a year there. Wasn't a money
sometimes
issue.
it's
Yeah.
a dumb reason.
Something
Yeah.
little
But another
stupid.
thing I want to talk about today, since we have Steve here, right? One of the things that we do a little differently with our associate brand is that our clients, they actually choose the photographers that they're gonna work with. A lot of other
Yep.
associate brands are usually assigned, right?
Mhm.
Random.
Even though it's a
Sure.
very mom and pop type of feel, these are people that we know as well. It's a very mom and pop type of feel. That photographer is still assigned, right? The clients had no choice in the matter. The clients that come on board, they go through all the portfolios of all the photographers. I like this portfolio a little better.
I like Steve.
This personality, the vibe of these photos align with what we're looking for a little more, right? So in that way, there's more of a personal touch. There's more personal choice as far as who they're bringing on board. So even though it's a studio,
Mhm.
it's still almost like you're still working directly with an owner operator almost.
Mhm.
It's still very personalized.
Mhm.
Even though they're not meeting with our photographers one-on-one, it's still a very personalized experience.
Hot
Steve,
flashes.
do you have any final words? Do you make your final piece?
Is
You've
there?
been, you've been dying to get on this podcast for 2 years. What else would you like to get off your chest?
Has it been 2 years?
Yeah,
Yes,
coming
2 years.
close.
Oh man.
Is there anything you think, as me as an associate shooter, I can do better?
Anything that you could do better? I think I mentioned this in all of our CCs and stuff. I want our photographers to get their work done quickly and push the creative envelope a little further. This is not just you. This is with everyone. Sometimes it's very easy to get into a creative rut, and then you fall into your habits, which is fine because the habits that you've been cultivating over a number of years, those are your easy shots. Those are your safe shots. You know you can get them quickly, right?
Mhm.
But what I want for all of our associates is to just push the envelope a little bit further. Give yourself that permission to push yourself a little further, because what you don't want to do is have your craft stagnate, right? Because if you're not growing, you're not leveling up. Everyone else around you is leveling up,
Mhm.
and everyone's growing.
That's how I feel.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I as much as I hate saying this, sometimes we have to go with the trends a little bit too. I'm not gonna go 100% into the trends because I just can't bring myself to it. But you have to adapt a little bit. You have to take a little bit, and if they want it, you have to do it. You know.
And there's one more thing, right? Like I'm very grateful that our associates they look up to me and Karis and the work that we're doing, but I strongly invite our associates to learn from others too. Like I do okay work, Karis does okay work. No,
Karis does great work.
right? I just caught myself, right?
What are you talking about?
Kara's fucking
I
loud.
do okay work, Karis does incredible work. But the thing is,
Harris effing loud.
there's more to there's more to the landscape, more to our market than just the two of us,
Yeah.
And even if it's not wedding photographers, find inspiration in other things, other areas of your life.
I'm starting to do that now again. I refrained myself for a long time because before I was trying to copy a lot of people, and then I stopped. But now I'm like, I need to look at people's work again.
And it doesn't have to be wedding photographers. It could be just
I think
other
it's
photographers.
It's better not for me. It's non-wedding stuff I look at.
Right. So
I
go
try
follow
not to follow wedding
go
stuff.
follow some non-wedding
Like
photographers. See,
fashion.
photojournalism photographers.
Document.
Document.
Even just like artists. Yep.
Even editorial photographers and
Fashion
stuff. Photographers.
Even
look up their poses.
videographers. I've been looking at a lot of
video.
videographer stuff lately. blown
Find
away.
inspiration outside of what's immediately around you. Seek that out. That's what's going to help you grow. What else? Anything
Perfect.
else, guys? You make your
Yeah, we're
piece.
good. Yeah.
You're
I
good.
feel like we're good. Are you good?
I think if we stay another 5 minutes, I'm gonna have a heat stroke.
We're all gonna die. Melt
All
away.
right, guys.
We're
Well,
back with sweat.
well, folks, if you have any other questions you'd like to ask Steve, feel free to leave them in the comment section in the podcast recording. You can also leave them in the comments when we share them on social media. But if you guys,
Wait. Also, where can we find you, Steve? Where can our listeners find you?
So I have my Instagram page. It's just a personal page, Escapone89 at Instagram. And I don't really publish much of my professional stuff because as an associate shooter, Ben and Karis handle all of that. And same with my other companies. So I don't need to create a portfolio. So come look at me at pearlpaperstudio.com.
There we go.
also on IG at Pearl Paper Studio. That's it. All right, guys. So anything else, guys?
Nope.
No,
we're good.
Yeah.
All right. So, folks, if you would like to check out our behind the scenes, highlights, bloopers, all that good stuff, you can find all of that at focused.af on Instagram. And if you'd like to not check us out on our website, that's focus-af.com. We're working on it. It's been a year. I'll get working on
Still
it.
working on
Yeah,
it.
You
we're
can
still
find us
working
on YouTube, though.
Yeah, but you can
We're
find us on YouTube.
YouTube.
Just look us up on YouTube at Focused AF Podcast. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
If there are any stories you'd like us to share on the podcast, you can send that over to hello@focused-af.com. On that
Awesome.
note, are you guys Focused AF?
Yes.
I am.
You're hot AF.
I
And
am.
focus
Yeah.
on getting some cold air. Bye, guys.
Adios.
Bye.
Focused AF is a fun, business-focused podcast for wedding creatives.
Co-hosted by award-winning husband and wife wedding photography teams Ben and Karis.
And Jen and Ro, where we help fellow wedding creatives with their sales and marketing.
With laid-back conversations and real talk with some of our most favorite people in the universe.
And with that being said, are you focused AF?
I am Focused AF today.
We are Focused AF.
I think I might be Focused AF.
Welcome to the Focused AF podcast.